Hello, everybody. Hopefully, you can hear me. I didn't check any of that, and I should have. Okay, yes, the mic is on. So, hi, everybody, and welcome. My name's Alicia, and I'm happy that you're here. Just before we get started, a few things, right? So, usually, I try to make Monday nights kind of fun, and I try to talk about pretty uplifting topics and try to encourage as many people as I can. And yeah, so I was worried that this might be not that today, and it probably won't be, right? Like, I think it's okay to lament, I think it's okay to mourn, and I think it's okay to not be happy all the time and encouraging. Some things just suck, right? Some things just suck. So welcome. Let me know you're here. Let me know where you're watching from. Let me get my mouse. Oh, shout out to Black Diamond 24. Welcome. Yes, it is. So the title of this video is Being a Black Woman in America is Exhausting. And so we're going to get right into it. Hi, Trish. Hi, Easier Said with Meg. Hi. And I still got to check out your email. And Jamal, yay. Okay, looking and sounding great as usual. Awesome. I had to click on that title so fast. Well, I appreciate you being here. Hopefully it's productive. And I think, again, sometimes venting can be productive. Expelling frustrations or expressing frustrations, I think, can be productive. So yeah, so just a few rules before we get started, because anytime you put Black woman in a title, you can attract some trolls, you can attract some people who look to do harm to Black women, and we're not having none of that here. So if you say something that is disrespectful or something that is vulgar and vile, you will be blocked. And I'm doing that to protect my own peace and my own sanity, and also the peace and the sanity of the other people here. So yeah, so welcome. Allies, you're welcome to speak up. You're welcome to share your thoughts and stuff, but keep it respectful. So yes, all right, let me take a deep breath. Being a Black woman in America is exhausting. It is exhausting. Yeah, she caught a live with me. Welcome. Hi, welcome everybody. Okay. Black Butterfly says, hey everyone. Hey PG County, shout out to you. Woo woo. Black Motivus, I feel like I'm saying that wrong. Sorry, but welcome. Mimi J says, me too, Alicia. I know it's hard keeping your head up. Yeah, it is. It is. Number one, the first thing I want to say is what happened over this weekend. What happened over this weekend was scary. If I cry, it's okay. Oh God, I feel like I'm about to cry. What happened this weekend was disgusting. We all know this, right? But what frustrates me most, I think, is this seemingly like the world continues on, right? Like this is not a burden that other people than Black people have to shoulder. It should be, but technically it's not. So earlier this morning, I went to the gym with my husband, and and we went to the gym, and I found myself like looking over my shoulder the entire time I was there, because I was worried that, and in my mind, I was like looking at all the exits and trying to plan like an escape. I don't like to have my back, to things I can't see. And so I realized I've been traumatized, right? Like there's this, like, obviously I wasn't there, and seeing that and experiencing that is very different than seeing it on TV and, in media and things like that. But I feel like there's a collective heaviness that Black people feel, right? There's a collective fear that Black people have, not ingested, but have been given, right? Like, I shouldn't be afraid to go to the grocery store. I shouldn't be afraid to go to the gym. I shouldn't be afraid to go to Target. I shouldn't be afraid to go to Walmart. Shouldn't be afraid to just exist, right? These were people just existing. And some people were on their way, like, to do lovely things for people in their lives. And so watching the world keep going like nothing happened hurts so bad. Like, it hurts so bad because it's become so normal. It's become so normalized that we don't even blink twice, even like with school shootings and things like that, right? Like, we don't blink twice when that stuff happens because it's normal. It's become normalized. It's not normal, obviously, but it's like, dang, another one. I remember being in school during Columbine, and like, that rocked my world. The thought that somebody could come into my school and me not be here no more, like, while I'm getting an education, or the teachers, like, you're supposed to feel safe. You know what I mean? Like, there's a level of safety that I think every person should be able to experience, especially doing normal everyday to day things, right? So this conversation, or these thoughts that I wanted to share, was really just sparked by my grief in all this happening, the heaviness I feel, the heaviness I hear other people feeling, like just the collective sorrow, right? Like, that seems to not be heard. Like, we're even hearing it on the news, like it being reported, like with just facts. Like, these weren't people with families. Like, these weren't people with with lives, with, you know what I'm saying? With dreams and aspirations, and people who literally were just going to the grocery store. You know what I'm saying? Like, it just blows my mind. So when I'm seeing this happening and play out in real life, and how some people, usually not Black folks, get to move. Well, that wasn't really for me, right? Like, that wasn't really something that happened to me. It's like, what is happening? Like, what is happening to us as a people? I mean, granted, I'm not surprised. This is America. It's been like that, right? Like, and a part of me also feels like the foundation of this country is violence. The very foundation of this country, or specifically, the country, like the United States of America, has been violence, right? So am I surprised that violence happens? No, right? Like, this is a violent nation. Am I wounded and scared? Like, yes, right? Like, two things can be true at the same time. So I've just been wrestling a lot with these thoughts and like what to say. So first I just want to, I guess, send love to, I mean, not that anybody will watch, but like, just send love to the families, but also Black people everywhere, because there's almost like a level of fear that is constant, like me driving, me going places, and low key sometimes even coming from my own men, right? Like, worrying about being safe as a Black woman in this country. And when I realized that no one is really coming to save us, like, no one, and I mean that to say that because Black people have been so traumatized here in the country, it's like, it's an everyday thing for people to see our pain, our anguish, our struggle, and like, it might not mean anything to them, right? Like, Black people, looking at Black people is like, for other people anyway, is like, oh, well, yeah, they always struggle, right? And it's like, no one's talking about these systems in place to keep us struggling. No one's talking about how we tried not to struggle and y'all burned the towns down, or you took the people and you unalived them, right? Like, no one's talking about those things, right? People are talking about, oh, this is just a perpetual state of Blackness in America. So I want to start there, right? So literally, it's exhausting. Literally, it's exhausting. And the mental anguish, when I realized when I was at the gym, looking over my shoulder, like, I'm at the gym, I should be focused. And they have like TVs, like, we went to Planet Fitness, like, they have TVs for anybody who's been there, like, so you can watch like the news and stuff like that, or TV shows and all this other stuff. And it's like, it was being reported as if it was just a part of the morning news, right? Like, okay, that happened next. Let's go to traffic. It's like, really? Like, and then, not to be it might be controversial. Some other things happening in the world right now are getting more attention than what's actually happening here in our land, and not trying to compare atrocities, not saying what's happening is not bad. It is. However, like, it's like, what are we doing? Right? Like, what are we doing? And I give you all free space to express your anger. It's okay to be angry. It's okay to be hurt. It's okay to be scared. It's okay to be emotional, because I feel like a lot of us don't really get the room. We don't get the room or the space to be emotional. You know what I'm saying? Like for Black people, it's like, well, we got to keep on getting on. Like, even when I think about my parents or my grandparents, how many things they actually saw with their own eyes, and how that trauma never really had a chance to be dealt with or healed, because there was no time. We're always trying to survive. So when you're in a constant state of survival, you don't really have time to process what's really happening, right? You don't have time to process like what you experience, the experiences of your elders, and how we pass down that trauma to other people as well. So I want to start there. So yes. So excuse me if I get emotional tonight. I'm not apologizing, but excuse me. So yes, excuse me. Let me get a tissue. But yeah, I've been having these thoughts of, especially during, 2020, when we were protesting taking an innocent life, right? And how the narrative was being spun that we were the violent ones. We were like, almost like, okay, I'm going to say this. For folks saying that, oh, well, they're destroying their own stuff and they're rioting and all this other stuff. You're the problem. You're the problem, right? Like, you're not as outraged. It's okay to be angry. And you're telling me that I don't have the right to be angry about someone taking the life of somebody else, like literally like in the street, like almost like our sorrow and pain is not equivalent to other people's sorrow and pain, that we should care more about those people's sorrow and pain than our sorrow and pain. And it has been that way historically. Like, nobody really cares. Like, nobody really cares about us. And y'all know what I mean when I say us. I'm trying to watch very, very carefully what I'm saying, because we know algorithms, and algorithms were created by white people. And I'm just going to say that. So I just want to be honest. So I'm angry. So if I sound angry, that's because I am, right? And so which takes us to our next point, right? I don't want to gloss over that, because that is a tragedy. But even as a Black woman, I have heard this trope used a lot of ways, the angry Black woman. And that's a lazy way to put it. It's like, one, if I'm angry, I have the right to be angry. Okay. Do you not see, like, if you're not angry, or if you're not understanding why I am angry, like, you choose to do what you want to do. But if you don't understand why I am angry, then you're blind, right? Or you choose to be willfully ignorant of the things happening to people in this country, people who look like me, right? So like, you're choosing, go away, tarot destroyer. What's happening? Genocide. I'm going to delete this, and you're probably going to be blocked. I'm going to figure out how to do that. But what I said coming into this thing is, if you don't have any empathy, if you can't just be quiet and listen, you don't need to be here. Like, the title says, as Black women, like, you can be an ally and just shut up and listen. And I mean that wholeheartedly. So I don't even know. Block user. Okay. Anyway. So yes, so like I said, like, yes, obviously it sucks, right? But we're not comparing tragedies. We're not doing that here. That's not happening. So excuse me, y'all. But yes, I get angry. I get upset. Like a lot of people, and that's gotten me in trouble before, because a lot of people think, oh, at least you're just so happy all the time. I'm sensitive, right? I am sensitive. So when I'm really happy, I'm really happy. When I'm upset, I am upset, right? And it's righteous anger. I'm not going to try to hide my being upset. You know what I mean? So anyway, all right. So yes. So anyway, what I was talking about, if I sound angry, it's because I am. And as a Black woman, sometimes it feels like I don't have permission to be angry, right? Like, I don't, like, just like, no offense, the person that was just blocked, this idea that, like, oh, Blacks, you have it bad, but so does everybody else. Get over it. No. Be very clear. Our experience in this country is very different than everybody else's experience in this country. And we can say that it's all bad, right? Every person's experience, unless you're a white person in this country, is bad, right? But it's like, it's different, and that's okay. Like, it's different, right? So anyway, and thank you, Book of Camille. I appreciate that. Not Umar Johnson voice. This is an Africans only live stream. That's funny. I mean, you can be here, right? It's YouTube, right? Anybody can come that wants to come, but don't come here with mess. Don't be divisive. Like, don't be silly. Don't do that. Trish says, I hate it when we try to speak our truth. Other races will try to compete with our level of pain to distract us from what we're trying to say. Exactly. Like, did I say that should have happened? No. Like, that's not what I'm trying to say. Let me get back on track. Okay. Mimi, this point, right? As if we don't have a lot of crap as Black women to be angry about. And that's my problem. It's the gaslighting for me, right? Like, excuse me? I'm angry because of how we're being treated, how my people are being treated, how this world operates, right? It's like, again, and what I will also say is, I feel like a lot of people misrepresent Black women's anger for passion. I feel like when Black women get passionate about anything, and passionate in a way that doesn't benefit other people, right? Like, when Black women get passionate, when they set boundaries, when they say no, when they stand up for themselves, when they assert themselves, right? When they choose themselves, we're seen as angry, and it's a very disrespectful term, in my opinion, because it really flattens the experience and the emotions of Black people, as if we only have capacity to feel anger. That we don't have capacity to feel love, or to feel jealous, or to feel, insecure, or to feel like we're not giving these wide range of emotions. It's always like either angry, like, or seductive, or whatever other word is used to describe Black women and Black people in general, right? Like, oh, Black men are thugs. Like, this is a narrative we always hear. Like, it's the same idea that they only have the capacity to be these things. and so even when I assert myself in the workplace, or when I say no, or when I say that's not in my capacity, right? Me and my friend Marcus, he might be here. But we were talking about these women that he works with at his job. And there's a black woman who literally like overworks and overextends at her job. And so Marcus told her, like, because you're a black woman, they're going to expect you to overwork, right? Like that is the expectation. There is no in between, right? It's always like black women are saving the world. Like they're superhuman. We're not. Like they are so strong and resilient and like all these things to benefit other people, mind you. Because when we choose to be strong for ourselves and say no, when we choose to be passionate for ourselves and say no, then it's a problem, right? But because you're a black woman, they're going to see you as someone who is committed, someone who is about like, and honestly, a lot of us are trying to prove ourselves on our jobs. A lot of it's just the truth. Like sadly, the thing that our parents told us, you got to work twice as hard to get half as far. Sadly, a lot of times it is true. To get the same recognition as somebody else, sometimes we do have to go above and beyond. And because they know that, they're going to use that and abuse that. So if you don't set boundaries, right, then they're going to take you for everything you have. All the things. Oh, thank you, the Dark Nate. Thank you. I appreciate that. And yes, we are not a monolith. We are not a monolith. But we are treated that way because the people who wrote the narrative of the black experience here in America don't look like us. Don't look like us, right? Like they're not us. So they're going to justify, like historically, even scientifically justify why we should be enslaved, why we shouldn't get paid as much, why we shouldn't be able to vote, why we shouldn't be able to have kids. Like there's so many different reasons and theories as to why these things, like why these people, theories that they use to oppress us, for lack of better words, like they use to oppress us. So yes. Hi, Erica. Welcome. First time I've made it to one of your lives. So glad to be with you, your wife. Oh, I appreciate that. I appreciate that so much. Trish says, I want to be allowed to feel weak and fragile. Me too. Or emotional, right? Like people like black women are so emotional. Everybody is emotional. Everybody has emotions. Like, anyway, but yes. Barbara says, so this cannot be ignored, premeditated. The only way to cease these occurrences is, I pray for all the families involved. Sad he's been taught hate instead of love. I mean, I'm sad too, but like, he's literally like just an example of what people have been doing for hundreds of years and or want to do, but it's not appropriate to do anymore, right? So even if you're not trying to take, my life, you're trying to take my livelihood, you're trying to take my home, you're trying to take my credit, like people keep seeing us as things to be used and not to be respected and loved and valued. Okay. So that, yes. So that, Cheryl says, I'm angry at society, but I'm going to be totally honest. Sorry. I'm angry at my black community too. Me too. And we'll get to that in a second. I love this space, but on a day-to-day, black folks show so much rage and jealousy towards each other. Yeah. I mean, it's true. And yeah, we're going to get to the black community because yes, it is them, right? But it's also us sometimes too. It's internalized, misogynoir. It's internalized, where I can't say on YouTube, but this, right? It's internalized that stuff. So it's like we have a lot of unlearning and healing to do as a community and a lot of like growing up and maturing to do as a community. Cause I'm getting tired. When I say I'm tired, I am tired. We should be able to have the space to experience the breadth of what is to be human. Absolutely. This got me scared. Me too. That's why I was saying when I was at the gym earlier, I was looking over my shoulder the entire time. Anytime somebody walked past me or even where I live, coming out of my home, like I literally ran to my car. I don't even think my husband noticed, but no, that was yesterday. Might have been yesterday. I ran to the door of our apartment because I didn't want to be outside. And I know that sounds silly, but like I'm scared. I am afraid because literally anybody can roll up to a grocery store and end me. And that's wild to me. That's wild. And people say stuff like, well, anything, you could get hit by a bus or a tree could fall. I mean, sure. But like, this is different. This is not like, nature has occurred in some way. Like I've been harmed, which is still sad. Right. But this is different. This is malintent. Like, this is like, no, on purpose, I'm going to seek you out and do away with you. Like that's different. That's a very different experience. So yes. So yeah, baby. So I don't want to leave my house. I don't want to leave my house. And not that matters either, because you could be in your house minding your business and still be So, okay, let me get back on track. I have notes because I have thoughts. All right. So the first thing I said is, again, I've been wanting to have this conversation for a long time. And I really mean conversation. So share what you have in the chat, share with each other, mourn with each other, grieve with each other, be angry with each other. It is okay. You have free reign to do whatever you want. And I thought about inviting people up if they want. We'll see how we feel at the end of this. But yeah, just so people can share how they feel, because I know my perspective is just one perspective. Okay. So I said this conversation has been wanting to have for a long time, and I've been wanting to have this conversation for a long time. But I didn't really know how to approach this conversation as a Black woman, because there's so many different things that we'll talk about. There's so many different aspects of being a Black woman that just don't really get respected or seen or validated. And it's frustrating. It's frustrating to me. Kristen, I just saw this. God is your protector. And that's very true. That is very true, right? I know that he is my protector. However, people are wild out here. And though, yes, but God was their protector too. You feel me? And this is not anything to you, but it's just God was their protector too. And sometimes God allows, which in my mind, I get so angry at it, because I'm just these innocent people, you know what I mean? I get so upset, because it's God, why didn't you protect them? Why didn't you stop them? Why didn't you jam the gun, right? Why didn't you stop this from happening? And so in my mind, it's both, right? It's the feeling of God, have you failed us? But also no, these people are wild too. These people are crazy. Thank you for giving us pre-permission to even consider. Absolutely. 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 Thank you. I'm grieving for y'all for real. It's hard to think sometimes. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. But yes, God is my protector. Absolutely. However, people are crazy. You know what I'm saying? People are crazy. And yes, when it is my time to go, it's my time. But I don't want that time to be determined by somebody who doesn't have the authority to choose that time. That's not on them. That's not their right. It's not their right. And so that's why even when we talked about, meth sentencing, I can't really say the word, but I don't think that and again, I'm very conflicted on this, right? But I don't think, as Alicia, I don't have the authority to determine when someone is gone. That's just my own personal opinion. What the country does, that's different, right? But me, I don't have that authority. Right? So to me, it's complicated, but at the same time, it's yes, there does need to be punishment. Now, what does that punishment look like, right? What does that punishment look like, and how can we do that in a way that stops people from doing the same thing? Because what I know for a fact is people love to copycat. What I know for a fact is that when something bad like this happens, there's always someone else who wants to do it bigger, or somebody who wants to be remembered for the same thing. It's this country is wicked. This country is wicked. The people are wicked. The country is wicked. It was founded on violence. It's wicked through and through. Yes. Okay. So Anik says, when I was giving birth, I asked my husband to not leave the room. I literally wrote a will before I went in. The doctor was nasty. I am so sorry. My medical care was nasty. I'm very sorry about that. The Black nurse was even worse to me. I am really sorry about that. That really grieves me. I'm really sorry. And as someone who hopes to be able to have kids one day, I am scared. I am scared. And I am scared that somebody would not advocate for me in the case that, and of course, if my husband is there, absolutely, right? But even then, I'm training him how to advocate for me. Hey, if this happens, I need you to do X, Y, and Z. Because I'm afraid that they'll see me as just oh, that's just a Black woman. She could take more pain than everybody else. It's not that serious. You know what I'm saying? And sadly, this is how we are treated in society. And I'm really sorry about that, Anik. That really makes me sad. I'm really sorry. So how do Black people protect each other? Ooh, that's a good question. Y'all can share answers. I have some ideas, but y'all can share answers in the chat if you want. Okay. So yes. So I'm shaking. Okay. So yes, I want to speak on what I have been frustrated about for a long time. And at the start of 2020, let's be clear. Being a Black woman, I have always been very aware of misogyny, and that is misogyny for Black women, for those of you who don't know what that is. But I have always been aware of it. I just don't think that I had a name for it, right? I was always aware of what it felt like. You know what I'm saying? I was all aware that something's not right here, but I didn't really know what to call it. So I have, at this point, 32 years of experience of misogynoir. But in 2020, when everything blew up with like the manosphere stuff, I'm just gonna say it, whatever, with the manosphere things, the average at best video went viral, and I was reading the comments of all the things, and I was just like, this is how people think of Black women. Like, this is amazing to me. Like, just like, it really, I wish I never saw it, to be totally honest, because watching all these videos and stuff, it grieves me. Like, it makes me angry. Ooh, okay. So I don't want to say any names, but yes, like this is the platform I was talking about. It's crazy these celebrities are quick to defend his honor, but when it comes to tragedy such as exactly. Okay, we'll get to that in a second. So watching this stuff, I was just very taken aback, because even I started to realize that some of the people that I claim to be friends with, not close friends, obviously, but people that I claim to be friends with, like, were agreeing to this. And I'm like, agreeing with the thoughts, right? And so, yeah, it really had me like spiraling. Like, I went into like a rabbit hole of like manosphere content, and I was just sick. I was sick. I was like, okay, like this is getting weird. But then at the same time, I'm kind of not surprised, because in real life, right? In real life, I have seen the way that Black men talk to Black women. I don't talk about myself in this, right? So, sorry, hold on one second. Jessica says, honey, y'all can't read those comments. What does, oh yeah, exactly. No, absolutely. Again, that was my bad. Me reading the comments sent me, yeah. So I'm reading the comments. I'm like rabbit holing. I'm like watching people who like make content about it, because I'm looking for criticism, right? Because how he spoke to her was not okay. What she wanted was not out of the ordinary. Like, to me, okay, fine. It's America. It's expensive to live here. So let's start there, right? So like what she would like, and I'm like, how dare people tell her what she can and cannot have? How dare people tell her what she's worthy of? How dare people determine that, when people have been doing that to us for years? For years, hundreds of years, people have been telling us what we can and cannot do, what we should and should not have access to, what we're good enough for. And so for me, I'm just like, wow, the internalized supremacy is crazy. The internalized supremacy is crazy, because that's what you have to be on to be speaking to your women like that. That's wild. Okay. So then I started journaling. I started sharing like my own frustrations, which is being a Black woman in general, and not always from Black men, but also from each other, also from people, right? Like, so these are my thoughts, right? Okay, so my channel, I wanted it to be a safe place for Black women and friends. So I wanted it to be a safe place for Black women. Friends come, and I appreciate y'all being here. And the friends that come are very supportive, very, very kind. And I appreciate that. And so I didn't want to talk about it, because I didn't want to bring that negativity, that traumatizing and triggering content here, because if this is supposed to be a soft and safe place, then I don't want people to be traumatized leaving my channel. Like, I don't want people to be triggered and raw leaving my channel. Like, I don't want that for Black women. Like, we already have enough things triggering and traumatizing us on a daily basis. Didn't want my channel to be another place for Black women to get that same kind of treatment. Okay. So, but enough. Like, I cannot pretend that I am not a Black woman with feelings, right? I cannot pretend that I am a Black woman who doesn't see the stuff that's happening, who is not hurt by the things happening, by the friends agreeing with the stuff that's happening, who is not enraged by it, right? And so yeah, and life is not always sunny and happy. Sometimes it's hard, sometimes it's difficult, and these conversations need to be had. So again, I have like a list. I have a list of things to talk about right on this page. Just, this stuff is falling. I have a list of things to talk about. And so this is in no particular order, but this is just my grievances and my frustrations and the things that exhaust me as a Black woman. All right. So the first thing I said, again, when people were demeaning and degrading that Black woman, it really spoke to how people look at Black women, that we can take more tough love. And I'll get to that in a second. Tough love is not a thing. Sorry. Okay. That we can get tough love. And I mean, okay. I'll get to that later. That we can take more tough love than other people, that Black women need to be held accountable, Black women, but Black women are literally carrying the Black community on our backs. Like, literally, we're like, Statistically, we are carrying the black community on our backs, and I'm not saying there aren't good black men. Obviously they are. Like, obviously I'm friends with them. I am married to one, right? Like, but we all have internalized misogynoir that we have to unlearn, and men included. Me and my husband have conversations all the time. What I don't have a problem with is people being ignorant. What I have a problem with is people choosing to, like, people hearing the truth and hearing the real experiences of those people that you're marginalizing or talking about, and then ignoring it like it's not true. Like, and so for me, some of them in my life, I had to be like, yo, like, this is misogyny. This is how it plays out. This is how black men even don't benefit from misogyny, right? So even this idea of black men have to be strong and they can't cry. Stop crying like a girl. Meanwhile, you're not crying, you're not expressing yourself because of misogyny. Like, because being looked at as a girl is the worst thing in the world. Like, it's the worst thing in the world. So like, welcome, right? Like, welcome to a black woman's experience. So in my mind, when I'm trying to approach this conversation, I'm approaching the conversation like people actually want to learn. People actually want to improve. People actually want to understand. Until you show me that you don't want to understand, like, I'm good. Like, we can keep having a conversation. We can converse. You can push back on it. I can share. You can share your experience. But if you're going to be disrespectful and set in your ways to believe a truth, if you're holding so tightly to a truth, then like there's something to that, right? Like, the only thing I hang on that tightly is honestly, like, and that's sometimes even like the word, like the Bible. Anything else beyond that is like, there's room for improvement for me. Like, I can always improve. I can always be wrong. I can always change my mind. I can always gain more information and contradict the version of myself that was 5 days ago. You feel me? So it's fine. But what I saw, even in this person's passing, no, I'm not celebrating, whatever. What I see though is this need for black men to hold on to this false sense of importance, if that's what that is, right? So, okay. So when I see people who resonate with what was being talked about, right? When I see people who are like, yes, tell them, get them, tell these black women, go. Like, I'm just like, one, who hurt you, right? That's the first question. The second question I had is, why do you need to hold so tightly to these ideals? It's because you don't feel good about yourself. Like, even this need to humble black women. Why? Why are we humbling black women? Like, black women just started feeling good about themselves like 5 days ago. Like, why are we humbling them? Right? Like, why are we telling them that they're still not good enough, that they're being arrogant now? It's like she's arrogant for loving herself and thinking she's beautiful, and like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's what makes her arrogant. Like, meanwhile, you know, you look out in the real world and people, like, there's no problem. Yes, confidence. Yes, get it. Oh, I love it. She's so confident. It's almost insulting. Like, how dare you black women have confidence in yourself? Do you know who you are? Don't you know what's happened to you? How dare you think highly of yourself? That's what I hear. And in my mind, if you have to put down someone else to feel good about yourself, you don't feel good about yourself. You hate yourself. It has nothing to do with me. Like, why is me living my best life? I'm not married to you. I'm not dating you. Like, we're not friends. Why is me being my best self, like, a threat to you? Come up with us, right? Like, come with us. You don't have to hate yourself either. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't get it. And if black women are doing well, the whole community does well. If we're at the bottom of the totem pole and black women are doing well, so do you. That's how this works. You're shooting yourself in the foot when you work against us, because you're working against yourself. You're working against yourself. Piggy Girl Chapter. Hi, Adelia. A lot of black men are perfectly okay with upholding the patriarchy. Absolutely okay. Even if that patriarchy works against them. That's wild to me. I'll be like, okay. So anywho, Jessica says, let these miserable, lowly people be just that. Most of these keyboard gangsters, that part, wouldn't bust a grape in a fruit fight. Yikes. For those who are froggy enough to jump. Yeah, that part. And agreed. I don't like, usually I'm against that, but do what you have to do. I mean, honestly. Okay. So yes. So again, I made a video a while ago called I'm Tired of Being Strong, or I'm Not Strong. And the song was like, basically the lyrics are, you say I'm strong, but I'm surviving. I get along, but I'd rather be thriving, right? Like my well is overdrawn, so tired of striving. And I'm so tired of being strong. Like black women and strong are like synonyms, right? Like they're like it's the same. Like black women are strong. And it's like black women are strong because we had to be. We had no choice. Cuz who's coming to save us? As a personal example, and I know that this is not everybody's example, obviously, but growing up, my father left my house, and I was the eldest, and my mother got sick, and so I had to be strong. I was a child when my father left. Maybe the first time, I think maybe like 13, but I had to grow up very, very fast. I had to grow up very, very fast because no one was coming to save me. No one was coming to protect me. No one was coming to provide for our family. I had to get a job as soon as possible. As a teenager, I was working 3 jobs. Like, so this idea that black women are strong, it's like, well, yes, sure. But it's like, but no, like I'm strong because I have to be. I don't have no other choice. I don't have no other choice. And what I also believe is that because people are so used to seeing black women as strong, anything less than is seen as like you're trash. Like anything less than strong, if you show any emotion, if you're not striving, and if you're not trying to achieve all these things, like then you're weak. Then you're not a good black woman, because black women have to be strong, right? And low key, black men rely on this resilience. They rely on this strength. They rely on us being there when nobody else would be there. They rely on us raising the kids. They rely on us doing all these things. And it's just like, because we didn't have no choice. We didn't have a choice. Hold on one second. I believe black women do have a ton of responsibility on their shoulders, but I am also keeping in mind that black men also do have a lot to deal with. Yeah, sure. To deal with that I think is hard for women to understand. I mean, listen, I will never understand what it's like to be a black man, right? So sure, right? But at the same time, it's just interesting because it's like a lot of us are experiencing the same things though. Like if we go back to, and I'm not comparing, like obviously I'm not walking through the world as a black man, right? Like not walking through the world as a black man. That's not my experience. But it's like, even when we go back to slavery, for example, we were working alongside you. We were doing, and this is not to you, DJ. Sorry, this is not to you. I'm just speaking in general because I've heard this, like, not that you're using this argument, but this argument that like, black women used to be submissive and they used to be, feminine. And I'm like, what book are y'all reading? Do y'all not know how we got here? Unless you like from somewhere else, like for the most part, we were working right alongside you. Like we were there with you. Like, I don't understand. I don't get it. Like when we're black women in the home taking care of kids, like, yes, if you were wealthy, maybe, but in real life, like, again, when I look at my ancestors, my great grandmother, my great, like all the descendants, I can go all the way back to like 1865 on my mother's side. I can go back, and every occupation that was held was housework. They were never in the home. They were working in somebody else's house. Fact that I found out, it's not a fun fact. I was about to say fun fact, but it's not. A fact that I found out was in North Carolina. I can't remember the specific city, but I saw this recently. And I think I actually got it from the Nat Ministry. I think she posted it. But basically, they were trying to pass a law to make it illegal for black women to stay home. So apparently, I guess like the backstory is that like black men were making enough money so that their wives can stay in the house, or, some of them. And so the people were trying to pass a law so that black women could not stay home if there were people who needed housework done. Like, so it was almost illegal. And I'm sure in other places it was illegal. It was illegal to rest as black women. Like so when people use this argument, they're like, oh, like black women were in the home, they were submissive and they were feminine. We'll get to that in a second too. They were feminine back then and all this stuff. It's like, my grandma worked in the house. My grandmother worked until she died of cancer. My grandmother ain't never just been in the house. Okay. And there was, how many of them? There were 9 of them. My grandmother never worked in the house. Never. So yeah. So, my grandmother was working for white people. Yes. Same. Yvette says the struggle between black men and black women cuts so deep. It does. It feels like family arguing in front of company. We should be holding each other up. I agree. But also like I want to know, Like, I want to know how Black men feel, but sometimes I'm like, feelings are not facts. Sometimes feelings are not facts, right? Like, my grandma told me the lady she worked for treated her so bad. Yeah, I'm sure, right? Because this is what you were created for. You were created to work for me. You were created to raise my kids. You were created while I hang out with my friends. Like, you're created to clean my house. You know what I'm saying? Fold my clothes, wash them. Like, that's what like literally, historically, that's why Black people were brought here in the first place. So how dare you think that you're going to live your own life and be treated well? Don't you know who you are? But again, going back. All right, y'all gonna have to forgive me. I get passionate. So I'm not strong. I am tired and sad. Oh, thanks, AJ's road trip, and welcome. Thank you for being here. Thank you. Appreciate you. Kristen R says, I'll compare Black women and men came through their horrible past in this country together. Unfortunately, many Black women Unfortunately, many Black women have been left to do it alone. And I agree. I am so sorry. I agree. And even when we look at statistics, okay, if it doesn't apply to you, let it fly. Okay, this is what I'm going to say. But when I look around at my friends, except one of them, maybe two, except two of them, women-led households. Women, like the fathers are not there. Like, women-led households. And even though that is like my personal experience, statistically, it's true. Black women are mostly leading households. Where'd they go? And even with the example of my father, it's like he left because he needed to find himself. Like, he needed to whatever. And at this point, I've been trying to like work on like, oh, should I not say that? Is that speaking ill? It's the truth. It's the truth. And the truth sets free. Okay. Like, he wanted to go find himself, live his best life, and forget my wife and forget my kids. And, but I got to find me. Right. So I haven't heard from him since the day after my birthday. And before then, I hadn't heard from him since before I got married, which was in 2016. Right. So it's just like this. And when you see these billboards that say, oh, be a dad today. Right. And obviously, this is not everybody's experience. Some people have amazing fathers. I'm friends with some of them. They're amazing. It's beautiful to be able to be in a fatherly presence. But there are billboards that say, be a dad today. You will never see a billboard that says, be a mom today. Never. Because it is expected that women, especially Black women, are gonna clean up the mess. Especially Black women. Like, you are expected to clean up the mess. There is no in between. There is no if I can. Oh, it's like when. When are you going to help us, Black women? When are you going to turn the state blue, Black women? When are you going to like raise the kids, Black women? When are you going to fix the community? And that's the person who passed away. That was one of his things. What are Black women going to do to fix the community? This is not my job to fix. This is not my job to fix. Right? Like, I'm here. I'm giving it everything I have. And is it perfect? Obviously not. Because we're not in a perfect circumstance. When my mother would come home, she would be tired, exhausted. And I can't imagine, and she was a boss at the time, so there was politics even within that, right? So her own daily frustrations at her job, and then she had to come home and take care of kids by herself. Like, as a kid, I was upset, right? But now looking back, I understand where that frustration was coming from. Because when she came home, I wanted to be, Mom, love me, hold me, take care of me. She was too tired. She was way too tired. Like, and so everything that I asked was like frustrating. It was frustrating because it's like, all day people have been asking her for stuff. And it's like, daggone, more people gonna ask me for things. And when I was growing up again, I had to take care of my little brother because my mother would work overtime and my dad was not there. So again, and this is actually something I wrote too, I'm gonna share with you all. But basically, another point that I have on here is that Black women never get it, like Black girls specifically, not even women. Black girls are only allowed to be girls up until a certain point, right? Like, I remember growing up and I would play with the boys. I'd be playing football with them and all this other stuff. Then all of a sudden there was the shift to like, that's not what girls do. Right. Like, that's not what women like. Okay. So I developed early. I'm just say that I developed early at 11 years old, and it did not make sense to me how I could play with the boys yesterday. And today I cannot. Today I can't play with them. Today I'm going to be seen as fast, right? Today I'm going to be seen as trying to be fresh. Like, I'm trying to use terms that my parents would use. But but you're trying to be fresh. And it's like, no, I'm just trying to play football, right? And this responsibility, this weight that I felt as a young person because men could not control themselves helped me grow up very fast. I would be walking home from school, right? I'd be walking home from school and men would be honking at me walking down the street, right? Like as a child. And I didn't understand. I didn't understand what was happening. Like, I was just like, okay, I don't know. Like, okay, hey, like, like you're naive as a kid. But after a while, I realized, oh, this guy is lingering too long at my body. This guy is holding me too close, right? Like these disgusting and things that felt filthy and things like that were happening because of them, not because of me. But the pressure is put on women to keep those things at bay. And I'll just say this. It is not women's job to control men and their parts. It is not a woman's job to do that. We know that in theory, but we play that out so much in the Black community. We always, like, if a girl is developed and she's like minding her business, it's like, oh, she's out here trying to be fast. She's a fast tail. What do people say? It doesn't matter. Basically putting the pressure on women to not be the downfall of men, when men should just be controlling themselves, their eyes, not even looking at children. That's weird. Like that's gross. Like, it's so normalized. Like, but we carry that weight. I'm sorry. Wait, I feel like I've been ignored in this chat. LOL. Oh, I'm sorry, Meg. I apologize. I'm not trying to ignore you. I just be on, like, I be going. Like, so excuse me. I apologize. This is definitely a conversation, but yes. Oh, AJ's rope tripping. Thank you so much. Appreciate you. Trish says, or being told to put on some decent clothes when a male relative is coming over. Maybe that's a sign they shouldn't be coming over in the first place. Shout out to you, Trish. Absolutely. And then you end up feeling like, oh, my existence, my being is wrong. Like, my existing is wrong, right? Like, there's something wrong with me. I need to hide my parts. I need to be ashamed of who I am. I was teased and made fun of in elementary school because of the fact I developed. But, like, not that I'm making excuses for them. They were kids, but it was still scarring to me. I didn't want nobody to see me. I didn't want nobody to touch me. I didn't want nobody to do anything to me because of the experiences I had with boys in school, men in my neighborhood, right? Like, me walking down the street, like, men in my neighborhood, like, literally, like, a man, I was hanging out with one of my friends, and I had to been like 14 or something. And this guy was like, yeah, you can come in and, as a child, you're still a child at 14. You're still a child. And in my mind, something told me, I was like, nah, this ain't it. No, I'm good. I'm gonna go home and ride my bike home. Right. Like, but this stuff happens all the time. Let's see. Yeah, my bad. I am so sorry. I am in the zone, but I am not ignoring you. The like button is free. Blow it up. Oh, thank you. I appreciate you so much. But did Meg, if you could you put it back in the chat? I didn't mean to ignore you. Could you put your question back in the chat? I would love to respond to it, and I'll pay more attention to the chat. Okay. Linda says Black girl told that we are fast. Absolutely. Meanwhile, Susie over here gets to wear her booty shorts and her crop top, and it's fine, right? She's just being a kid. This is what kids do. Like, there's a shaming of the Black woman body because of the historic connection to people using and abusing the Black woman body. So we understand that the Black woman body is used and abused, but we won't correct the problem. We're trying to correct the women. That's misogyny in general, but especially like misogynoir. Our bodies were literally used to breed, to create more wealth for other people, right? So having autonomy over our bodies, over our sexuality, over anything is like mind blowing to a lot of people. Like, we don't realize how yeah, Susie over here, we don't realize how much like slave theology, slave thinking we have acquired over the years. Like, we think like, oh, slavery was, first of all, it wasn't that long ago, but then even after slavery, we had things. So there's that. But like, we have been taught to be ashamed of our bodies. We have been taught to be ashamed of ourselves. We have been taught, racism and misogyny, excuse me. And it's like ingrained in our society and ingrained in us. Yes. Black women can't help. We develop fast thanks to genetics of coming from women that had their kids at 18. I never even thought about that. And you're right, Teresa. Oh, sorry, excuse me. The Dark Knight. Slavery never ended. It never ended, y'all. It just changed the, requirements to, we'll get there. But yeah, it's a means of psychological control. Absolutely. That's why R. Kelly was able to and to this day, people will still say, well, what was you doing over there with him in the first place? I'm like, What does it matter? Kids should be able to be safe with adults. That's the point. Like but because adults are not safe, we're teaching kids to stay away from them, right? We're teaching, don't take candy from strangers, like all these things. We give the precautions. But at the end of the day, it's never that child's fault. Never, ever. So yes, Black girls and women's bodies are hypersexualized and ongoingly criticized. Absolutely, shame. And shame is something that Black women know very personally, very intimately, very intimately. It's like you're born with shame. You're born with shame wrapped around your finger. You're born with shame. And so even this theory, and I saved this for later, but I'll say it now. This theory that this theory that women mature faster than men. And I read this book called The Female Brain, and I recommend it. It's cool. So there are obviously differences in female brains and male brains. There are differences, right? So, but one thing that we need to understand is that we are socialized to think a certain way. We're socialized to see things a certain way. And so this phrase that I've always heard that says, girls mature faster than men, right? So if we're talking about bodies, I mean, sure, right? Maybe. In my experience, that has been true for the most part. Of course, there are some exceptions. But mentally, I feel like a lot of the reason why it seems that women, I'm speaking Black women, mature faster than men is because men are given space to mess up. They're given more space to be children. They're giving more space to get their things together, where it is expected for Black women to always have their things together. Personally speaking, my brother gets away with a lot more stuff than I do. He gets away, and it's like, it's crazy to me because I'm like, wow, you just told me, you just told me this thing. But it's like, no, like Black men we're almost expecting them to mess up. We're almost expecting them to take time to get it together, right? Like we're expecting, you said that's not true and you're laughing. That's funny. But it's true. Like, I mean, if that's not true for you, fine. But it's very true for me. It's very true for me. They do. And society babies their sons. Okay, so Mr. Albert, you might want to listen to women because they're speaking. You could learn a lot from Black women if you just listen. If you're not trying to fight us all the time, you could learn some stuff. Like, so it's like a lot of times, a lot of pressure is put on Black women to be amazing. Like it's put on Black women, like you have to achieve, you got to go above and beyond. Like, granted, my father left, so it wasn't necessarily, my mom's fault that like she needed help, right? But it's like, there was no question about whether or not I would help, right? And even if stuff goes wrong in the house or if stuff goes wrong just in life in general, I'm the first person she calls. And I think, yeah, maturity has something to do with it. But I also think it's because I'm a woman and it's expected that women take on the burdens of other people. It's just expected, And so, when I look at, I love my family. I really do. So if y'all see this, I love you. But when I see people taking care of people, when I see people having to make the choice between themselves and their family, a lot of stuff is put and expected on women. Like a lot of stuff is put on women to do. Like there's no question. Like my aunt, she takes care of everybody who gets sick. She takes care of people when they're passing, like when they're in the process of passing away. Like she gives so much of herself. My mother, the same thing. Like they've been raised to give. Women are raised to give everything. Jamal says, Mr. Albert, that's your unique situation, not the general norm. Consider the voices of others. Yeah, that's all I ask. If you want to push back, fine. You're allowed to do that, but just listen sometimes. Like this isn't an attack. It's not an indictment, and if it doesn't fly, let it, if it doesn't, what is it? If it doesn't, whatever. If it's not you, let it fly. So you. So a lot of Black women are looked at. And so yeah, we talk about the family, but also the world. It is expected that Black women fix everything. We got to fix everything. And somebody mentioned, where is it? Somebody mentioned even in marriage. Where is that at? I'm so sorry. Even in marriage. Yes. Okay. Anik. Even in marriage, the family tells me I have to do it all because my husband needs help. We're both adults. Listen. And me and my husband have had this conversation. It is almost, and I should just read what I wrote, y'all. But it is almost looked at, like Black women are looked at as wombs. As WOMBS. Black women are looked at as wombs or incubators or catalysts, right? Like somehow we're supposed to fix a man. We're supposed to be gracious with him. And there's nothing wrong with grace, but Black women don't get no grace. We're supposed to give ourselves unto death, like literally birthing children. Like that's the closest to death that women will get. And we're supposed to do that and more, right? We're supposed to do that and then snap back in 6 weeks. And, like all these expectations are put on women. On men, there should be a greater expectation. I'm just going to listen. If we're going to talk about, okay, I'm obviously speaking from a cishet perspective, obviously. But if we're looking at what men say that they want, if I'm talking about the manosphere, right? If you're talking about submission and all these things and all these biblical terms, right? You want to use the Bible to justify you berating another woman. The Bible also says that you die for your wife. The Bible also says you protect your wife, you provide for her, you love her like Christ loved the church. Jesus died. And so you don't get to demand things when you're not holding up your end of the bargain. That's not how this works, right? So if you want to go with that perspective, and it also says that men submit to your wives as well. Nobody wants to talk about that. Everybody wants to talk about the woman needs to submit. She needs to take care of the kids. She needs to take care of the house and all this other stuff. Or using Proverbs 31, and I was going to make a whole other video about that. That grinds my gears. Using Proverbs 31 to justify the overworking and the abuse of Black women, right? It's like, but her husband was wealthy and she had help in the house. Like she was telling people what to do. She wasn't doing those things herself. Like some stuff she did herself, right? But she also had the resources and the means to be able to get help. And people are not used to seeing Black women getting help. Black women aren't used to seeing Black women getting help. It is normal to ask for help. It is not normal to set yourself off and think that you have to do it all by yourself. You cannot do it all by yourself. You cannot. And that's okay. Like, it doesn't make you weak. It doesn't make you less than. It doesn't make you a failure of a wife or a mother or whatever. Like, you're a human. You're a human being. There's only so much energy, so much attention, so many resources, right? Like, that you have. But the whole point is, like, people look at Black women as a womb, some place to go to curl up and to grow in. As if, like, when I hate struggle love with a passion. Whenever I hear somebody's proposal start with, you stuck with me through the hard parts and I put you through hell. And even though I cheated on you, you still helped me. I'm like, what is this? It's almost expected that Black women have to endure pain and suffering to experience any goodness in life. That suffering is par for the course. That, that abuse or neglect, right? Like, that we have to suffer to be loved. We have to suffer to be valued, like literally suffer to be valued, right? Like the reasons why Black women are celebrated in this country, they're resilient, they're strong, right? They're game changers. They go above and beyond. Like these are the reasons why Black women get celebrated, not for being, not for existing, not for being, even though I know we are nourishing and supportive and for loving ourselves, right? We don't get supported and or loved for loving ourselves. Like that's the difference. That's the difference. Sorry, y'all. I'm catching up with the chat. Nowhere does it say men submit to women. Yikes, it does. Go back and read, sweetie. Go read that Bible. I promise you it does. Submit to one another. Okay, I'm not gonna pull it up because you can Google it yourself. But it's there. I promise, it's there. Women suffer nowhere near what men do. Again, you must have missed the intro. We're not going to compare atrocities. We're not here to win. It's not an argument. It's not an argument. It's facts. I'm stating things. And so you're welcome to be here if you want to be supportive and if you want to be kind and empathetic and understanding. And if you want to push against, that's fine too. Push respectfully. You don't have to use caps. We can see your words, right? Like you're using caps because you want me to see this. Like, so you don't have to use caps. You can use your words in lowercase, right? But also it's like, why are we competing against each other with struggles? I'm confused. Like, why are we doing that? Why are we competing? It sucks all around. Surprise. We're in America. You're other. Welcome. Like, what do you want me to say? It says in the Bible, in the Bible, we slaves, how we get to have a family. Sorry, try to make light, but it's for real. I mean, listen, you all perspective, that's totally fine. But yes. So anywho, going back to what I was saying, what was I even saying? Okay. Yes. So people look at Black women as a womb, right? And okay, that part. People shouldn't say things if they're not ready for a clap back. And the thing is, like, I'm not even trying to clap back, But like, it's facts. Like, don't come to me like it's a fact. Go read the Bible. Read it yourself. If you're going to use that as a measuring stick, read it in its entirety. Don't just cherry pick what you think is cute or what tickles your ears or strokes your ego. Read the Bible. You die for your wife. You die to yourself for your wife. You give up what you want, like, and you think about your wife. That's the Bible. That's the truth. So if you're going to use that, fine. If you're not going to use it, I don't know what to say, right? Like, don't know what to say. I have the right to complain. Welcome. It's my platform. I can do what I want here. Welcome. I can complain if I want to complain. So you complaining, you the one. I'm complaining, but you just told me that black men suffer more than black women. The jokes write themselves. Stop. You're embarrassing yourself. Ephesians 5:25. Go read it. Go check it out. Anywho, like, I'm already impassioned. So I'm like, I'm trying really hard. I really am. But like, if you keep with the nonsense, you are going to get blocked, because I don't owe you my labor. I don't owe you my response. I don't owe you anything. I'm a regular person on YouTube, on the internet. You don't get to come here and dictate what gets said, what gets, you don't get to do that. Sorry. I know you probably look at black women like I have to do something for you. I don't owe you anything. So anywho, a lot of people look at black women as a womb, as somewhere to come and to grow up in, as someone to fix them. A lot of people come to black women to fix them, right? Like, I'm really not trying to be spicy. I'm really not trying to be spicy. I'm not. I'm passionate. I'm passionate. And I mean what I say. Like, and I don't like when people use the Bible to abuse and put down people. I hate that. We're not doing that. Not here. So anyway, that part. Would Christ be in my would be in my chat room right now arguing with me about what the Bible says? I'm like, come on. Anywho, so anywho, yes. So a lot of people come to black women to be fixed because black women have been looked at as somewhere to be nourished, as someplace to rest, that black women don't even get to rest themselves, right? If they're not taking care of the kids, or if they're not taking care of their husband, if they're not taking care of society at large, if they're not fixing the world, saving the world, then like, what are they here for? Like, that's how people look at black women. So that's my thought. Those are my theories. Yeah, I'll try, y'all. Forgive me. Excuse me. Okay. So, yes. All right. Going down the list, desirability politics, right? So I want to talk about even what is looked at as beautiful. Black women. Okay. So this person, or this group of manospheric men, use white people's measuring stick of what beauty is. And I find that kind of confusing, because we're all of us are on the end spectrum. There was this, we were talking about this in Black Girl Creative in the group, and how algorithms are racist. They are. Algorithms are racist. It's the truth. That's why some content gets pushed above other content. That's why some words used in the title don't, get as many views as other people. It's the truth. And so, or it takes longer for us to get ahead, no matter if you're a black woman or black man. It's just the truth. And so there was this AI technology in Google phones, and a person had like I don't know, what do you call it? Like pictures of their friends. And so Google can sometimes be like, oh, these are pictures of doves, or these are pictures of flowers. Like, it can do that. For their friends, it said, these are pictures of gorillas. These are pictures of gorillas. And so to me, when people exactly, who programmed the algorithm? Hello. So, okay. So yeah, so these algorithms are biased. These algorithms are choosing what is and what is not, and they're programmed again by people, and these people are flawed in the way that they view people, but also finally true. I'm not gonna go back and forth with you. Okay, so these people, like, they programmed these computers, the software, all these things, like, to see. So yeah, so it's all black people as gorillas. Black people, to me, do not look like gorillas. I am so sorry. There's no way that I cannot distinguish between an animal and a person, right? So when people use this measuring stick of beauty, they're using a supremacist version of what beauty is, right? This is why I refuse to listen to the problems of, wait, sorry. There are a lot of people. Sorry, my bad. This is why I refuse to listen to the problems of, what does that stand for? Please tell me. I don't know what that stands for. But yes. So anyway, so when people are using this technology or the survey, which is really just a survey, like this idea, oh, like a facial symmetry, and most people have symmetrical faces. Like most people's faces are symmetrical, right? But it's about what is valued. Am I conventionally beautiful? No, I am not, right? Like I have a big nose. I have, I don't know, brown skin, like big lips, right? Like I'm looking at myself in the camera, but there are things that people use to say that Black people are ugly. Like this is what they're doing. So when men use this thing to say that Black women are masculine, or they are not attractive, or they are whatever, fill in the blank here, it's like you're lining up with the people who hate you. Like, and you realize that we are mirrors of each other. And if I'm ugly, so are you. Like, so are you. What are we not getting? Okay. No, I appreciate that. I appreciate y'all. What I mean by conventionally attractive or beautiful, right? I am not the phenotype of what is. You're probably not going to see a person. You might now, because like body positivity is a thing and like beauty is changing. But like in the 90s, I didn't see nobody that looked like me. In the early 2000s, nobody looked like me. Nobody. You know what I'm saying? So like I felt ugly for a very long time because I could not see myself in media. And media is teaching us what to like. Media is teaching us what we should respect. Media is literally programming us, right? So when I was growing up, I was watching the music videos and I was seeing these light-skinned, very fair-skinned women with bone straight hair, very thin features, very thin nose, right? Like right? Like these people were being celebrated. And later on, it was like, oh, women with like, bigger butts and things like that. But like, for real, like I never saw myself in media. And so it was programming me to believe that I was not beautiful. So that's what I mean when I say that. It's like, I'm doing a lot of work now to see myself as beautiful. It's taking a lot of work. I'm just going to be honest, but I'm grateful because I can start to see myself removed from media, if that makes sense. So yeah. I expect the people who created the beauty standard to uphold it. That part. Exactly. Right. I don't expect for Black people to perpetuate self-hate and colorism. That word was kicking my butt. But yes, perpetuate self-hate and colorism. Absolutely. So literally, like when men are saying this, I'm like, do you not hear how you sound like a person? Do you not hear how you sound like that, or how these things were used to, oh, thank you, baby. How these things were used to, enslave us? Like, what are we missing here, right? Like, why don't you see your own people as beautiful? What is therapy is for everybody. And I don't mean that in an insulting way. I'm being very serious. Like, it's something very wrong if we think like altogether Black women are on the losing end of beauty. Because when I see Black women, I don't know what y'all looking at. Okay. I'd be like, yes, get it. Like, what is that about? What is that about? Okay. And then, Easier said with Meg says, they don't care. They just want to make us feel bad. Absolutely. That's it. Finally, the truth, you finna get, blocked. So here we go. Since you can't, Google is your best friend. Literally, you can go to Google, Bible Gateway will probably pop up, type in, husbands submit to your wives. It goes both ways. That's the whole point. Like, come on, submit one to another. Like, literally, use the tools you've been given. You're smarter than this. I know you are. You're being willfully ignorant. So you're about to get blocked. So here we go. Say one, like, I'm trying, y'all. Okay. It's self-hate. It is self-hate. And that's my point. Like, it's self-hate. I'm going to say many Black men have internalized racial inferiority. Yep. And believe them. Yep, absolutely. I agree. And they do. And what a lot of people think, and it's not just Black men at this point, a lot of people in general, like that part, yes. But we all have internalized racial inferiority. All of us do. Like, and it makes sense, but we have to do the work to undo it. So when we're talking about, even imposter syndrome is very different for Black women. And Black men probably, right? Like, it's not just like, oh, who am I to do this thing because, I'm a fraud, I'm a fake. It's like, no, like sometimes it could be like, who am I to be in this room? Who am I to ask this question? Who am I to charge this much, right? Because Black people don't have money, right? Using air quotes. Who am I to go and follow my dream because nobody in my family was able to do that, right? Like, or survivor's remorse. It's so many things that we just call like, oh, it's imposter syndrome. No, it's not. It's that inferiority that we feel, that feeling of like, I haven't been seen as good enough, so now I have to go above and beyond to prove that I am good enough, right? Like, so there's a lot of things that we are all unlearning. There you go. Thank you, Black man, for educating another Black man about where this is in the Bible. Because again, you look at Black women as your workhorse. You look at Black women as a place to get information from, as a place to grow into. No. Thank you, Black man. So anyway. Oh, thank you, Anik. Always bringing that. I appreciate you. All right. Yes. But yes, PTSD. That's a perfect way to put it. Black men. Absolutely. Like, I would love, like, there was somebody. Oh yeah. Honestly, how do I make you a mod? How do I do that? I actually would love to do that. Yeah. Okay. So all these things that we're working through, like feeling inferior because, imposter syndrome does exist. Like we feel like we have to prove ourselves in order to do anything. But then there's another layer of Blackness, and then there's another layer of womanhood, and then there's another layer of class, right? There's another layer of colorism. Like there's so many things that, and also again, being that phenotype, like there's so many things that get in the way of us being able to thrive and succeed because of all the trauma we've been through, all the things we've been told. So when I hear Black men say these vile and disgusting things, I'm like, you hate yourself. And you think that by putting me down, it's going to get you closer to these people. And it's not. And even if they let you in, you will only be given a certain amount of access. You will be the token. You will not be respected. Right? Obviously, there are friends that we have who are, and they're very kind, right? They're very kind. So yeah, again, if it's not for you, let it fly. But you will not be as respected as you think you are. When I heard Nick Cannon say about being with women, who you want to be with who you want to be with, sweetie. But the reason for him saying that he wanted to be with her is because black men back in the day couldn't have white women, so now that's a trophy. I'm like, who are you trying to prove yourself to? What insecure man? What I hear is insecurity. What I hear is self-hate. What I hear is that you think that somehow Black women are less than, that they cannot be a trophy, right? That they cannot be a trophy. And it's just like you don't hear yourself? Y'all don't hear yourselves? Because it's embarrassing to me. I'm very embarrassed. I'm so embarrassed. Okay. So next on the list, the over-sexualization of Black women in America. The over-sexualization. Oh Lord, not Nick Cannon. Yes, girl, Nick Cannon. Okay, because yes, and again, London. I don't even know if you're a girl or a guy. I haven't even asked. I apologize. Excuse me. But yes, Nick Cannon. And me and my husband talk about this too. Like I say girl to him, and I'm like, oh, I didn't mean that. And he was like, it's fine. It's okay. Like it's a term of endearment. Like girl, you just so used to saying that. So excuse me. Anywho, okay. So the over sexualization of Black women. Black women's bodies have been torn apart literally and figuratively for centuries. Centuries have been torn apart. So when people are using a system to say, what's your dress size? How much you weigh? Okay, sir, whoever's out the window, please stop. What's your dress size? What's your blah, blah, blah? Like all these things, it's giving very much selling a slave. Like it's giving very much like block, like the selling block. That's what it's giving to me. And I'm just like, wow. So we're using these like these same things, like when people call Black men a buck, right? Or like these derogatory terms, we're using these same measuring sticks to judge whether or not Black women are worthy and if they deserve things. And I'm like, again, slavery. Like you think like, these modern women, like what does that even mean? We're in modern times, duh. Like at every time there was modern women because we're in modern times. I don't understand. Okay, enough. I don't know if y'all can hear this person driving up and down the street. Okay, we're not doing name calling, so you are blocked. All right. All right, let's get some peace. So I apologize, y'all. That went on for far too long. Next time, no. Okay, so yeah, so the over-sexualization, as if a woman does not fit this phenotype, she is not valuable, right? She is not seen as worthy. She's not worthy of protection, right? And so even when people were talking about like these things and how it's like, oh, well, oh, sorry, baby. I blocked him. So he's going to have to either create a whole nother account or whatever, but you did enough. I appreciate you. But yes, so this idea that there are only some women who deserve love, respect, support based on what her body looks like. Again, very much slave, very much like literally our entire existence, our entire worth was dependent on how much money we made someone else, how much money we made someone else by picking things, selling things, making things, right? Like for other people for free. Like we were exploited. And so we're using those same talking points. Yeah. They're using the same talking points to invalidate Black women, period. Like, exactly. She's not worthy of love, marriage, etc. Exactly. Are you serious? A free? Oh, sorry. In San Diego, they have just passed a law that redefined the definition of a woman to include males that choose to identify as women. Shake my head. I'm highly offended. I feel attacked. Ooh. Thoughts. I have thoughts. Okay. But okay. Black women are inspected and that's what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying, right? Like Black women are inspected like we are still an auction block. And so I do want to talk about that. We'll talk about that, but I want to be clear on a few things. But yes, we're still being sold as property. You know what I'm saying? Like listen to the music, watch the music videos. Now, what I will say, right? This is not a classist statement. Some music is fun. And some people are just talking about their lived experiences. I am all for storytelling. But when you are creating a narrative that these are the only women that you like, that these are the women that are beautiful and these women are not, it's like you're teaching people to hate Black women. It's that simple. So again, these I want to say reprobate, but that's an intense word. But these wicked thoughts, these unfounded facts, these that are not backed by any type of anything, and again, what I will also say, science is biased, right? Like science is biased. Like I know that a lot of people are like, and again, this came up a lot, like during, people talking about taking things to not get things. If y'all know what I'm talking about, read between the lines. But like, science has been racist. Science has been sexist. Science has been classist. People have used their own theories to justify harming, unaliving, right? Like people have used science to do that thing. So even if you're talking about a scientific, researched, backed, like peer-reviewed, studied, who is the peer? Who are the peers? A lot of people are just looking to confirm their bias. They're not looking to learn more. They're looking to confirm their bias. If I poll the same people from the same place, we're probably going to have the same answers, right? Because that is our lived experience. But in my mind, what real science does, that you have to have things that are, what are the controls? Like you have to have different, it's been years, y'all. You have to have controls. You have to have different variables. You have to have different things. But people don't want to do that because they want to support the reasoning behind oppressing, hurting, unaliving people. So moving on. There is no grace for Black women. There is no grace for Black women. And grace even assumes that Black women are doing something wrong, right? Grace is assuming that, they need to be afforded some sort of, some sort of time to get their things together. Black women have had to have their things together for far too long. Are we perfect? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. We are also imperfect to ourselves. So we know, like, this idea that Black women, even, I'm going to go back here, accountability, right? Let's look at the definition of accountability. Let's look up the definition real quick. But also, Black women have been taking the blame for everything since almost like the beginning of time. Black people as a whole, but especially Black women. Accountability. Definition. All right. I don't know why I can't type. Okay. So anyway, it's like we can't use these racist systems and science to support the reason why, to support your inability to be kind, empathetic, loving, understanding, helpful. Like, okay, accountability, the fact or condition of being accountable, that doesn't help, or responsibilities. Okay, so accountability and responsibility. That's what it says is a is a synonym. So if we're going to go with responsibility, Black women have been giving responsibility for a lot of stuff that is not even their fault. That is not even their fault. There's no grace for us to make a mess. There is no grace for us to stumble along and figure it out. Surprise, this is our first time on the earth. This is our first time figuring things out. So will we make mistakes? Absolutely. But Black men are held at a very high standard, and a higher standard than a lot of other people in this world, in this country, I'll speak. In this country, Black women are held to a very high standard. We are always supposed to be high achieving. We are always supposed to be motivated and energized and even sexual. We're always supposed to be like all these things except tired, except at peace, except like self-loving, right? Like there's no grace for Black women just to be women. Just be women. All this talking is just time to leave. Honestly, listen, I've been telling Jamile, I will say, baby, I've been telling Jamile that I do want to leave the country. I'm leaning towards leaving the country. I am tired. I am exhausted. This is too much. It's too much. Like, and a part of me struggled with that because I felt like I've always thought that if I want to see change, I should implement it, right? Yes, we are. If we are, yes, absolutely. And yes, exactly. And if we are not, we're useless. Absolutely. Like women, how we talk about that law that was almost passed. Women, how dare you leave and take care of your family? How dare you rest? How dare you take a vacation? How dare you care about anybody else except how dare you care about yourself and not everybody else? That's the expectation. But yes, we can collectively say that we are tired. Yes. And so I have struggled with this because I've always been a person that said, if I don't like something, I can be a part of that change. If I don't like something, let me try to make change, right? But the thing is, it's like Black women, Black men, they've been trying to make change for hundreds of years, right? And at every opportunity to thrive and succeed, like it has been cut down in some way, right? If it's not cutting down the person, it's cutting down the movement, it's cutting down the towns, it's cutting down the businesses, like it's undercutting them, like redlining them out. Like it's just like I am grieved, and I am grieved almost every day just by existing here. Like I am scared, I am grieved. I can't live in a world where I'm scared all the time. That doesn't make sense. I cannot live and thrive in a place where my value is always being questioned, even from the people who look just like me. I cannot live in a place and heal and be peaceful and be of any good to anybody else if I am sick, if I am struggling, if I can't ask nobody for help, right? Like, and I don't want to down people who decide to stay and do the work. There has to be those people too, right? But maybe, like somebody just said, maybe, what is it? Change might be leaving. Yes, sometimes change means leaving. Absolutely. And that's something that I've been wrestling with. Like, maybe it's not up to me. Maybe it's not up to me. Maybe, and I'm not even talking about like trying to save a country. I'm talking about my people, period. Right? Like, and especially Black women. I like the things I want to do. I want to put together a retreat or, things where women can come and rest and just be and exist. Right? Like, but I can't do that here. I need a lot of capital. And sometimes I'm just like, do I really want to work that hard? Do I really want to work that hard do I really want to work that hard? Or should I go somewhere else and help people in a different way? Or like have things in a different place where people can actually afford to come and eat well and sleep well and create, right? Like these are the things I'm wrestling with. And sometimes it's just like, exactly, how dare you be a Black woman in luxury? Absolutely. Why are y'all hating on Black women in luxury? What's the problem? Why it bother you? Like, if you talk about jealousy, okay, right? Like I get it, right? Because I want to be on the catamaran too. I want to be sailing too, But like, I'm not going to knock a girl down because she wants to be living a luxurious life. I'm also not going to knock a woman down if she wants to marry a man with $100,000. How dare you, Black woman, ask for a man with resources? How dare you? What? First of all, I live in the DMV area. You might need $100,000, okay? Just maybe, like, to live well, you might. So like, come on now. So yes, you don't have to do it all. You're allowed to rest. I appreciate that. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. I just didn't want to feel like I'm turning my back on my people. And that's some internalized something I have to work through where I feel like if I leave, and especially like my family, right? Like I'm thinking about my family. Like I'm thinking about all that stuff. Like, I'm thinking about, family, friends, and also just like my people in general. Like I want to make great change where I am, but maybe I have to come away to be able to do that. And maybe even though I'm not clear on how I'm going to make change, maybe that's not my business right now. Maybe what is my business is healing myself. Maybe my business is choosing myself. Me and my husband moving somewhere where we can actually like thrive, right? Like doing that instead of struggling and being overwhelmed day to day. Yes, put your mask on first. Drag me, get me together. Absolutely. Hey, shout out to DMV. But yes, Trish, excuse me, says society doesn't believe that Black women are allowed to have nice things unless we have suffered for it in some way, shape, or form. Absolutely. That's exactly what I said earlier. Like, you're not allowed to experience love, luxury, joy, happiness unless you suffer first. That's slave theology too. And low key, that's Christianity too. That's a whole other conversation. And yes, I am a believer, but I am very critical of how people use scripture to justify a lot of things. A lot of stuff that we know as truth is not true. So yes, a lot of people think like, oh, you gotta suffer, you gotta crawl on your hands and knees, and like then you can experience joy, or that our joy is in the great by and by. No, like I want to see the goodness of God in the land of the living, like the living. I want to see joy now. I don't see why I have to pass away to experience joy. Like and again, we were just told that, so we endured abuse and neglect and exploitation, right? Like these were the things that we were told to believe. Anywho. Okay. I want my boat. I know that's right. I want my kids to be at peace. Me too. Like, I don't want my kids to be going through the same thing I'm going through. If and when we have kids, like, I wouldn't want that. Shout out to, again, Picky Girl Travels the World was here earlier. Stephanie Perry, Rashida Dow. There are a lot of people I follow. Ashley in Africa. Forgive me, y'all. There are so many people I follow. Kayla Creative. There are a lot of people who are living their best lives outside the country. And I'm looking at them like, y'all. So we're going to go on some scouting trips to go see about doing the thing. Because yes, I cannot. Okay. Back to the list. Ooh. Oh, y'all are giving, what do you call it? Recommendations. I appreciate that. Okay. So, so there's no grace for Black women to make mistakes, to be selfish. And there's nothing wrong with being selfish, by the way, but to be selfish or to choose themselves. Adelia made a great video today. Check it out, please. It was called, I don't know if the title was called this, but it said F being nice. Y'all, when I tell you that thing spoke to me, F being nice. Okay. Like, go watch that. Like it was amazing because I always feel like I have to be nice. Right. But at what cost? So anyway, go watch that. It's really good. Okay. So again, strong Black woman, being the strong Black woman, right? So the strong Black woman is, again, because we had to be strong, but it also works to our detriment, right? So we talked about this in a previous video, and it's just like the idea that Black women can endure more things, like, or this idea that like, oh yeah, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. That's not true. What doesn't kill you doesn't always make you stronger. What doesn't kill you sometimes injures you, maims you, right? Like what doesn't kill you harms you, traumatizes you, it injures you. And that is not a way to live a high quality life. It's just not. It's not the way. I'm about to close this window. But it's not the way to live a high quality life. The way that you live a high quality life is with support, love, generosity, abundance, resources. Like this is the way that we heal. This is the way that we get ahead. This is the way that we come together. You feel me? Like, so yeah. Anywho. Yes, please watch for these things. Absolutely. It's because it's not true. And again, just like, oh, thank you, baby. Jamal's going to close my window for me. But yeah, just like these slave, like, you can cross ahead. These slave theology things, like, that we've been taught to believe, like, you know, you can be, like, being strong is like the goal. No, it's not. No, it's not. I want to live a life where I don't have to struggle or strain. I do want to be taken care of. I don't want to have to work. Surprise. Don't want to have to work. Most people don't want to have to work, right? But we've been telling ourselves these things because it's been normalized. Like your living is literally your work. I made a video that I'm going to post soon, and it's called, like, I want to make a life, not just a living. I don't just want to make money. I want to live a life. But a lot of us can't afford to actually live life here because we stressed out. We don't have no time. If we don't have time because of the job, we don't have the energy because of the stress and the strain of the job, right? Like we're living literally to work when we should be working to live. Surprise, I don't like working. Like, wouldn't work if I didn't have to, right? Like, I want to be taken care of. Yes, absolutely. Like, who wouldn't? Like, Who wouldn't want that? But again, we've been taught that black women are not, yes, that black women are not worthy of being taken care of. And again, I'm going to go here too. Respectability politics don't save nobody, does not save anybody, and marginalizes a lot of people. So even, what was this, like a couple of years ago when people were talking about the bonnet conversation, y'all can feel how you want about bonnets. I, Alicia, do not care. If I see a homegirl in the grocery store with her bonnet, I'm not thinking nothing of it. Literally, there are no thoughts, like literally no thoughts, because I too have been out in a bonnet before. I'm not ashamed, right? But this idea that it's tacky, it's classless, it's all these things. And those things, classism is used to classism is a tool to be able to look down on other people and say they're not worthy of support. Look at them. Look at how they carry themselves. Look at how they talk. Look at what they do. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, why does her wearing a bonnet bother you? It's not your hair. It doesn't matter. She's here to get orange juice and go home. Why does she have to be put on all the time? Nobody else is expected to be put together all the time except black people. Nobody. I have gone to a lot of Walmarts. Lots of Walmarts, okay? They don't be trying at all. But we always feel like we have to go above and beyond. Where does that come from? Not from us. It's this idea that if I look the part, if I dress the part, right? Like if I that part, don't come for me. But if I look like I'm worthy of respect and love and admiration and grace, then I will be treated like with love, respect, and grace. And we know historically that's not true. Our ancestors were looking very sharp. They were looking very nice, okay? Dressed down every day, right? They were still being harmed. I can't even say the things I want to say, but they were, y'all know what I'm trying to say. Like they were still being unalived. They were still being mocked and ridiculed and sprayed down with hoses. Like nobody cares about what you're wearing, sis. Nobody cares. They all see us as the same. We're all the same. Like you're not special because you're not wearing, like you're not any better than homegirl over here wearing a bonnet. I'm gonna look at both of y'all the same with love. And half of us are barely making it anyway. I'm like, in a pandemic, y'all got this to talk about I shouldn't even say that, in a panorama. Like, what? Who cares? Who cares? We are all trying to stay alive. Who cares? I don't. I really don't. And it's shame. Like it's shame. I mean, I don't know if you're saying that's a shame to go out like that, but it is shame. Like shaming tactics work. And that's why people shame us, because it works. It works. When we shame people, you can literally make anyone do anything you can unless you have like, great, self-assurance. You can make anybody do anything with shame. Anything. Nobody wants to be ostracized. Nobody wants to be the other. Nobody wants to be left out. We all do it. We all give up some sense of ourselves to fit in until we decide not to do that anymore, right? And so for me, I am not concerned about how any white person looks at me in the grocery store. I don't care. I'm not here for them. I'm here for my eggs and my milk and to go home. I don't even want to be here. Like, I hate grocery shopping. Like, I don't even want to be here. And y'all talking about my bonnet? Because I'm trying to protect I ain't got no hair now. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to go how I go. But when I had locks or when my hair was straightened and stuff like that, like I'm wearing a bonnet to protect my hair. Y'all know what it's for. If I'm going to the grocery store, I do not want to take down my pin curls out of my hair. And then if I go in my pin curls, y'all still going to have something to say about me. So why would I even care about what y'all think? Why? I don't care. Yeah, we do the delivery pickup now. So we haven't done it in a couple of times, but yeah. Actually, change the game. Hi, the Hallmark 419. You are so brave. I appreciate you. Oh, yay, that makes me happy. Thank you. I'm not gonna lie. The movie Black Panther really changed my life. It really let me physically see a world without white validation. Yes, right? Like, yes. And that's why a lot of people are drawn to it. It's like, we literally cannot imagine. We literally cannot imagine what life would be like without the white gaze, especially here in this country. Excuse me. Personally speaking, I don't know what it's like to be a Black woman without worrying about how white people see me or if they value me or having to play their games to be accepted in their spaces, right? Like, You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know what that's like. A lot of us don't know what that's like. And so we think a lot of the things that we think that those are our thoughts. A lot of them are not our thoughts. A lot of them are just passed down traumatic views of ourselves. Like, I don't understand. I don't understand. I know this, but when I wear a wig to work, they say I look beautiful. See, when I wore my locks, crickets. I felt outnumbered, harassed, underpaid, and lonely at work. Exactly. We all do it. Like, there's no shame in you admitting that. Anik, there's no shame at all, because I've done that too. I have done that too. Again, I used to have locks, and locks are usually seen as like unkempt and like, you know how people look at people with locks, especially in the DMV area. It's a very DMV thing. like it was a way for a long time for everybody in the DMV to have locks. And yeah, so I know how people look at people with locks now. And even when I had locks, it's like, oh, I always got to keep my locks twisted. I always got to keep it looking nice. I always got to retighten it, right? After a while, I said, that's too much work. Y'all gonna get this new growth, okay? You gonna get this new growth. You gonna get these locks. But yes. Yvette says, all these thoughts were strategically placed in your head. They were. Absolutely, they were. They're not our thoughts. A lot of us don't know what it's like to have an independent thought of the white gaze, the male gaze. That's a whole other conversation. Even the competition with women, right? This idea that like, oh, I have to compete for this man, or, oh, I have to, look better than such and such. It's like, that's the male gaze. You're not free. I hate to break it to you. You're not free. You're not free. If you're using another woman as a measuring stick of your beauty and your worth, you're not free. Get free. Both of y'all are beautiful. Get free, right? Like, it's fine. The Dark Knight says, nah, Alicia, you remember when everybody was fake Muslim around here in DC? It's true. I can't even argue with that. Yeah, and Philly the same, right? Like Philly, like, yeah, like absolutely. We had a neighbor, I think, who was in NOI, I believe. But yes. Yvette says, well, they about to look at me sideways because I'm growing locks. Absolutely, Yvette. I might grow my hair back. We're gonna see. We're gonna see if I can handle it. If not, I'm gonna just ask my husband to cut my hair. But yes, get free. Get free. You're not free. If you're like, oh, I got, my body is banging and hers is not. It's like, okay, and so what? So what? You like, what do you want? You know what I'm saying? Like, get free and stay free. Okay. Because your worth is not in your body. I'm all for loving your body. I'm all for, but again, it's that idea that like my worth is in my body, which is why even those phrases like, oh, when you hit this age, you hit the wall. What the heck does that even mean? What does that even mean? You hit the wall? Like, one, it sounds very people who like young people-ish. I can't really say that word because I might get flagged. That sounds very that. But also like in my mind, when you get older, your worth goes up. Everywhere else in the world that's not that's not focused on the dollar being the main important thing in their country, like the value goes up. Older people are held in high regard. They're celebrated. They're honored. They're seen as celebrities because they have the wisdom. They have the information. They have the knowledge, right? Like this idea, even when I'm talking about my own family, my great grandmother lived with my grandmother and my uncle lived with my grandmother, right? So like there was multi-generational, living. Like in my family, it's very normalized. Here in the West, what is normal is people, and again, I'm not saying people who need help, because there's some older people who might need, assistance and things like that. I totally understand that. But there are also people who are like, oh, you're old, throw you away. People who are forced to retire. People who can't get hired. Ageism is a very real thing because America uses and abuses its people until they don't see them as valuable anymore. That's all that is. So when you talk about hitting a wall, it's like, what does that have to do with anything? And then the reason that I've heard a lot of people say is because, black older women, I'm just gonna say this, black older women, and this is a paraphrase, black older women they don't have as much fun, right? Like, or they're not as vibrant or whatever. It's like, no, they're just not going to put up with your stuff. Like black older women are mature. Black older women don't have time to be pussyfooting around. And you older man should be dating like grow up. I don't know what else to say. Grow up, right? Like and there are people who are like, in relationships where the age is significant. And if, for some people it's not done on purpose, it just happens, right? Absolutely. America shows no respect to the elders. None. None. They see elders as a burden and not as the gift they really are, which is why a lot of people are afraid of aging, and some of them Black men are afraid of aging. And you think that because you're getting with a younger person, that's gonna stop you from aging. It's not. But aging is beautiful. We shouldn't be running from age. Aging is beautiful. Beautiful. And I see people do it beautifully every day. Every day. Wear your hair whatever way you want. Bald and locks are so far my fave. At 66, I do what makes me. I know that's right. Makes you happy. And that's one thing that I've seen, like, which I love with older women and women as I'm getting older. I see that it's happening. You care less about what other people think. Who cares? Do what you want. Do what you want. Sorry, hold on. Sorry. Okay. My bad. But yes, all those are white standards. Yes, they are. They are. Oh no. I met a fine older man. I know that's right. Get it. And yes, so many homeless veterans who were just thrown away. Absolutely. Again, we see how America treats its citizens. We see it. Use you until I can't use you no more. Then what you do after this is not up to us anymore. Like, I know too many people with that story. Too many people who were in the military who were not taken care of after they were retired or discharged or whatever. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, they use bodies to, like, literally the foundation of this country. That is the foundation. They use bodies until they can't use them anymore. And when I was researching how they treated older enslaved people back in the day, it was like the older people had to earn their keep. Like, they had to go out into the market and make money for the person who owned them, because now they couldn't make money in the fields because y'all worked them to death. Like, anywho, the dark. Okay, yes. Okay. Next point, y'all. I'm almost finished, I promise. The angry Black woman. Like I said earlier, I have the right to be mad. Solange said it best. You got the right to be mad, okay? I'm angry, yes, but I'm also, again, passionate. And a lot of people see Black people's passion and mistake it for anger. But even if it was anger, so what? You should be angry too. That's all I have to say about that. Black women are allowed to be angry. Actually, I have one more thing to say about that. One more thing. When I go to restaurants, when I show up in spaces, when I know what I'm talking about, when I want to send something back at a restaurant or whatever, I'm afraid of being looked at as the angry Black woman. And this kind of goes back to what Adelia was talking about in her video today about, like, being nice, right? It's like I'm always overdoing it, right? And I feel like a part of that is trauma, but a part of that is just like the lived experience of Black women. When me and Marquita, she's here, me and Marquita were going out to the restaurant. Our server was not good. Our server was not good. Marquita assertively said how she felt about the service to the server's face, right? And I loved that. I love that Marquita, shout out to you, Marquita. I love that Marquita, like, said, no, this is not okay. And this is how we're going to change this, right? This is not all right. And I'm afraid to do that. I tend to be afraid to do that because I don't want to be seen as angry. I don't want to be seen as disrespectful for asking for what how dare I ask for what I ordered on the menu? Like, how dare I, right, send food back that's not right or that's cold? Or how dare I call out somebody who is serving me who is not really paying attention to me, right? Like, these things, like, we're always, I'll speak for myself. I am always, like, overthinking. And so I feel like being a Black woman, like, you're kind of always trying to navigate spaces. It's exhausting. Like, you're navigating spaces, still trying to love yourself and assert yourself, but also not too much, because you don't want people to think that you're a B word. You don't want people to think that you are, angry, or what is it? Like a bitter Black woman, like bitterness, or, that you're mean, right? Like, we have these stereotypes that people say about us, and we're trying to avoid them. I'm trying to avoid them at all times. And that gets exhausting. And so again, that video is right on time. I say again, watch that video. Take your vet money and live well on the continent. Hey, do what y'all gotta do. I'm here. I'm a vet, but I'm draining that system for every coin. Absolutely. As you should. Take them for everything they got. Everything. Anik says, back home, our elders stayed with us in a room or a guest house, and we took care of them. They watched the babies. Okay, thank you. Exactly, right? And not saying that older people are just there, or elders are just there to watch babies, obviously. But, like, what's wrong with communal living? What's wrong with sharing houses with each other? What's wrong with helping out? Like that's the benefit of having people in your house who you trust and love. Everybody can help in a certain way and everybody is valuable, and it helps older people live longer and healthier lives. People need to feel like they have a purpose. People need to feel like they are loved and valued and seen, right? And our elders are no different. They're people too, but we just throw them away. Or we speak in very ageist ways like, oh, I don't want to get older. Oh, you look good for this age. Like, it's like, what? They just look good. They just look good. But we're so, again, the racism, ageism, all that stuff is so deeply ingrained in American culture that we don't even realize we're playing into a game that doesn't benefit us. Because the truth is, even if we are ageist now, Lord willing, again, you're going to get old. You're going to age, right? And so what you do now determines the life that you're going to live later. And not that you should do it for a selfish reason, but just be clear, what you sow, you reap. And I mean that as in how you treat older people now really influences how culture treats older people. And then when you get older, that's how they're going to see you because you played into that. Do you see what I'm saying? So anyway, so I'm all for multi-generational housing. I don't understand why my mom got to live by herself. Like, you know what I'm saying? Or why we got to live by ourselves. But yeah, I mean, fair. Well, some of our parents are narcissistic and crazy. That's different. That's very different. That's not what I mean. I'm not saying, take abuse, and I'm not saying be manipulated. I'm not saying none of that. You set the boundary you need to set, but just don't be, broad strokes. Every situation is different. Absolutely. Okay. Doing laundry, had to switch to phone, don't want to miss a minute. Oh, yay, I'm wonderful. I'm wonderful. I'm happy that you're here. Happy that you're here. Hey, shout out to 59. Shout out to you. Shout out. Yes. JB, it takes a village. Absolutely. Absolutely. Again, it's very American to think that we can do everything on our own. We weren't meant to do everything on our own. Even giving birth, I was having a conversation with one of my friends. We were talking about how women give birth and are expected to heal and nurse and take care of the husband and the house and all these things. Really, that's not how things are supposed to work. People need help. First of all, if you just gave birth to a baby, your body is not going to heal all the way for months, if not years. I know someone who literally, I think it took them 3 or 4 years to heal after having a baby. After having 3 or 4 years. And it makes sense. Your whole body is moving and stretching and breaking in so many different ways. And we think in 6 weeks they're supposed to be back in the workplace. What? How'd that work? That sounds horrifying to me. Horrifying. I notice America is full of solitude. Yeah, kick your kids. Anik, kick your kids out at 18. Is not even wise for our Black community. It's not. We do not have the infrastructure. We do not have the finances. We do not have the wealth. We don't have that luxury. Sadly, we don't. But also, why are we doing that? Why are we doing that? If honestly, I'm just going to say this, speaking as Alicia right now, right? If and when we have children, I will not kick them out the house. You can contribute, you can help clean up, but I want you to actually have a chance. You know what I'm saying? I want you to have a chance. And so you moving out on your own is not giving yourself a chance. It's making you struggle more than you have to. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, that's just my thought at that point. So yes, I do agree. Kicking people at 18 is not wise. They're children. They're adults technically, but they're children. So Wingwolf 500 says, at this point, hard to live by yourself with the prices on houses. Hello? Especially for my DMV folk. I don't know how y'all doing it, but go off. Y'all are doing the daggone thing. Doing the daggone thing. Hold on one second. I just saw something from, where'd it go? Someone just said that they gave, I saw, you said you're 50 plus. I know I just saw it. You're 50 plus. You had an epidural and your back still hurts. I believe you. And I'm really sorry about that. That's a lot on the body. A lot. My mama will run the nursing crazy. We better take care of her. That's funny. That's funny. When people treat you poorly, we should turn on a loud noise and put your mask on. Run from that venom. Hey. Oh, there we are. Okay. I'm 50 plus and had an epidural. My back still hurts. I believe you. My mother, when she gave birth to my brother, I will never forget. She came home and she was hunched over like this. I don't know if y'all can still hear me, but hunched over like this. And she couldn't hold her head up. And I was like, what's going on? I was 7, right? So there's only so many things that you're aware of. And then later on, I found out that there was like a hole in her spine, that her spine was leaking fluid because of where they placed the epidural. Like somebody had messed something up and like she couldn't hold her head up because like her head would throb every time. And I'm just like, you just gave birth. Your head is like exploding. Like, and now you gotta feed a baby with your body? Girl, that's crazy. The Dark Knight says, I'll never forget, I saw a tweet where a grown man admitted to sitting in the house with his starving kids, waiting for his wife to get back home to cook. See, I ain't got time for that. And this is what I'm talking about. Like, this treat, like, why aren't men taught how to cook? Why are only women taught how to cook? Misogyny does not work for either party, right? But especially like for Black women, like we're always looked to be the homemakers. I can't do everything, and I'm not going to do everything. This is the thing. If and when we have kids, I will not give myself unto death. I am so sorry. I am so sorry. I choose myself. I choose myself. I will love them within boundaries. I will love them. I'm sure I will give everything I can to them, but I will not kill myself trying. And again, if they're babies, that's different. They can't do anything on their own. But like, no, if everybody's able and willing, I'm not doing everything. No, I'm not doing the dishes and cooking the dinner. And and me and my husband had this agreement. Granted, shout out to you, baby. He been doing most of the stuff for lately, okay? Because I ain't got it. But if I cook, he washes the dishes. Like, it's really not that hard, right? To me, it's just like step in and help. Like, watch a YouTube video on a tutorial on how to cook. I don't understand the resources. The resources are out there. Postpartum depression is real. It is. The lease says no one else. Oh, set up that way. Sorry. I feel like it's a conversation. Even Netflix don't want us to share passwords. Speak, Anik, speak. I'm like, don't you know that like most of us share passwords? It disgusts me when husbands who expect their wives to get their hot bod back after giving birth to their children, or they'll look at them differently if they don't. Okay, I have heard this a lot, and I don't get it. I agree with you, Trish. I don't get it. Like, what do you want from her? What do you want? Be lucky that she's there, okay? Like, what do you, like, this need to always, again, be sexy, be brilliant, be accomplished, it's like, it's too much pressure for anyone, especially women. Like, no, my body will be what my body is. My body housed a whole human being for 10 months. And then after that, I had to feed them. Like, getting my hot bod back is the least of my priorities for a lot of women. But a lot of women, sadly, like, kill themselves, so to speak, like, trying to get fit and trying to be sexy because they want to be seen as sexy from their man. I'm just like, or when they say stuff like a woman's value goes down after she has kids. How does a woman gave you a baby and her value goes down? Then you don't need to have no babies. Yo, I'm shining. I put some oil on my face and now I'm like oily. But yeah, like, you don't deserve no babies. You don't deserve a wife. I know this sounds harsh, but for real, like, what? Excuse me? Y'all can't even handle cramp pains. Like, first of all, I've seen so many videos of these men wearing the cramp simulator, where men put them on their abs and they can like create like what cramps feel like. And a lot of men like are hunched over and like in pain that they cannot take. And women are like, this is what we feel every day and we still have to go to work. This is what we do. And we still got to feed ourselves and clothe our kids and like, just like all this stuff. Like, give me a break. Give me a break. Post baby body. Exactly. And also my body is not here just to be consumed by you. My body is a masterpiece, right? Like all on its own, not just for you. I know that might be a concept for people to realize, but it's true. It's true. Okay. Anyway. Yeah, that's gross. Eat right, mild exercise. I'm not doing anything more. I'm okay. Hey, absolutely. Do what you listen. And again, like imagine a woman just getting healthy because she wants to be healthy, not just to be seen as sexy by other men. Like a concept. I know it's hard to believe, but it's true. Men know how to cook something. They're just running a game. Okay, let's talk about that because I've seen that. I forget what it's called, but you're right. That there is it's some word that means like men pretend that they don't know how to do something because they want their woman to do it for them. That's trash. I believe 18 is not grown. I think 18 is considered adult age only because it's average age. People are able to start basic labor work. But if you see how 18-year-olds are, sorry, I'm stuttering, they're still children. Absolutely. And I agree. Nothing, not pushing back on that at all. I do think there is accountability and expectations placed on them that should be placed on them. But you're absolutely right. Yeah, 18 is not like they were just in school yesterday. Like, what are they really going to know? They don't really know anything, you know? So at 18, I thought I knew stuff. I didn't know nothing. I didn't even know that I wanted to go to college. So I think that's another conversation. A lot of these kids that are going to college don't need to go. They need to know other options. Like, they need to know what's available to them, because how at 18, some people do know what they want to do for the rest of their lives. I was not one of those people. I think I always knew I wanted to do art, but I didn't think that was going to make me money. So that's another conversation. So yes, I agree. 25 is a better age. My body is a vessel for divine energy. Absolutely. It's not just for you. It's not just for you to be enjoyed. It's not just to bring babies to life. That's not what the body is for. Like, it can do it if it chooses to, but like, nah. Okay. Willful ignorance. Exactly. 90-day fiance. The guy wanted his child's mother to stop breastfeeding because he said he wanted to enjoy that part. Ew, gross. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. But again, right? Like, and I'm gonna read this to you after I finish this. But this idea that a woman's body is just there to be enjoyed by other people. A woman's body is just there to be food, to be a place of pleasure, to be a place of trauma, to be used at will, right? For anyone. And I cannot, that's what it's called. Weaponize incompetence. Thank you. But like, I cannot deal. I can't deal. Like, I cannot sit here and say, oh yeah, that's what the body's for. It's not. Like, the body is not yours. It doesn't belong to you. So like, stop. That's gross. I'm really sorry. London, I'm glad you shared this. That's gross. Yeah, Jamal, be embarrassed. Be embarrassed. Yeah, that's nuts. Yeah, yuck. My sentiments, exactly. Okay. Okay, again, we talked about that earlier, about humbling Black women. Why do we need to humble them? They just started having, things about themselves like yesterday. I don't understand. And what I really hear when I see Black men trying to humble Black women is that you're saying, and I'm just going to say it, that you're saying your standards are too high because I cannot reach them, or I choose not to reach your standards. So therefore, you need to give up your standards and your wants and your desires to be with me. No, I don't. No, I don't. No, I don't have to. Yeah, lust. Yeah. Like, I don't have to give up. I don't have to give up my ambitions, my goals, just to be with you. If you want to be with me, then if you want to be with this person who has the things that you do not have, then get the things you do not have, or leave her alone. Like, Black women are so forgiving. We are so forgiving of so much. Like, we know how hard the world is on you. No, we don't know what it's like to be a Black man, obviously, but we know how hard the world is on you. We are very forgiving, almost to a fault. And I'm not even gonna say almost, to a fault. We are very forgiving of a lot of Black men because of patriarchy, because of misogyny, like all the things, right? And so this idea that I have to come down even further, like, she's not asking, like the homegirl that he said, oh, you're average at best, you're going to die alone. It's like, she was just asking for a man to not use her as a come up. What are we talking about? She said every man that she dated who made less money than her used her as a come up. She doesn't want to be used as a come up. That Black women don't want to be used as a come up, but they often are. You look at even the starter wives idea, right? Like, oh, the person starts out with a black woman. She supports his career. She's doing all these things. And Black men mine Black women of labor, of emotional labor, of support, right? Like, of all these things, because they know that we're supportive. They know that we're going to be down for them. You know what I'm saying? And then they get famous and they choose somebody else. It happens all the time. It happens all the time. So this idea that like Black women need to humble us, I would say Black women need to raise their standards. That's what I would say. That's what I would say. Raise your standards. Like, because them persons exist, okay? Those people exist. And there are people who, even if they didn't meet their standard, right? There are people who even still would try to, like, they would honor their standard and still try to be the thing that woman needs, right? Without having to tear you down. Without having to tell you that you're asking for too much. Like, the only reason why you're telling Black women that why they're asking for too much is because you don't measure up. Like, that has to be the only reason. Or you're so used to Black women being humbled. Black women have been humbled, okay? And it's not even humility that you're asking for. Because a girl saying, this is what I want, this is what I have, these are my dreams and aspirations, that's not a lack of humility. That's not arrogance. That's her asserting herself and saying what she will and will not put up with. If you don't meet the standard, move on. Somebody else will. Like, what? Anywho, so yes, so humbling Black women. So to me, it's as Black men, it should be embarrassing for you to say that, for you to say humble yourself. Because what you're really saying is that I'm not good enough, so you should accept me because I'm not willing to be what you need. That's what you're really saying. Okay, so moving on. Black women, this is the conclusion I've come to as we wrap up. Black women will never be enough. Black women will never be enough, right? Black women always quick to help folk, friends. We make room for everybody to a fault. We make room. I feel like Black people in general, but especially Black women, we make room for everybody. So what are you talking about? If you have potential, a lot of Black women will work with you. And should they or should they not? That's a different conversation. And it's up to that person what they want to put up with. I am not for struggle love. I am not for struggling and suffering through something for love. Okay. But it's just like some people are willing to do that, right? Like if you say that this is what I'm trying to do, a lot of Black women will work with you. So this idea that Black women are delusional, it's like the only reason why it's delusional to you is because you're unwilling to improve. That's the only reason why it's delusional, because you are unwilling to improve. Meanwhile, there are people out there, like Black women are asking for you to treat them with kindness and respect. Imagine that. Asking you to allow her to be valued and secure, like, and not even secure in like, oh, I have insecurities, but secure, like, don't give me a reason to think that you're up to anything suspicious. Like the bar is in Hades for a lot of Black men. And I'm just like, what are you complaining about? All this time, y'all are streaming for hours about your gripes with women. And I'm just like, but you could be doing so much. You're a man. You have more power than I do. Stop asking me for resources and power. I don't have it. I barely have any for me. And who was helping me? Who was pouring into me except other Black women? Stop doing that. That's a side note, but it's just irritating. Okay. Stop asking Black women for power they do not have. Actually use that energy and seek from the power that the powers that be. That same energy can be put somewhere else. We're over it. We're tired. We're exhausted. Wait, what? Y'all seen, Kentanji? Is that what you're trying to say? Jackson? A note on her. I will say, I mourn for her because I know even if she got the position, she's still going to work so hard there. Like, and she had to work so hard to prove herself. And nobody else had to do all that, right? Like, I'm just like, girl, I don't even know if it's worth it. But go off. Like, I'm proud, I'm happy, but girl, I don't know if it's worth it, okay? When we say no, we get cursed out. Absolutely. Can I tell you, I don't even know how many times I've been called a B-word walking down the street. I have no idea. No idea. Because I say, oh, no, thank you, I'm in a relationship. Or no, thank you, I'm actually on my way somewhere. Like, some guy will be like, oh, you know, whatever. Hey, whatever. They'll be shouting to me on the street, which I'm just like, one, I'm awkward in the first place. That's not going to work. I don't like a lot of attention. Don't do that to me. Don't do that to me. And also, can you just, if you're really interested in me, why don't you actually don't do that. I was going to say, but if you're interested in somebody, actually come out and be like, hey, you know, have a conversation with me. Say how hard is it to start a conversation? But you saying a shorty in the blue jeans. And I'm like, aren't we all wearing jeans? Right? Like a shorty with the, with the t-shirt. It's like, okay. So even shorty with the t-shirt, it's like, if you're not brave enough to go talk to her, leave her alone. But there've been a lot of instances where I say and I try to be polite, as Adelia was talking about, right? Like, oh, no, thank you. Like, I'm fine. Thank you so much. Like, I really appreciate, that's very kind of you. I'm flattered. You almost have to go out of your way to be really cordial because you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know if you're going to be attacked. You don't know if you're going to be called the B word. And I can't tell you again how many times I've been called the B word, or oh, well, you should smile. You should be grateful that I'm showing you any attention in the first place. Entitlement. I don't owe you my time. I don't even owe you a response. I don't know you from a can of paint, right? Like, I don't, oh my God. You're in my head. I'm literally talking about the Gallery Place. I'm literally talking about Gallery Place in DC. But anyway, but yes. Oh Lord. But some of them are, oh my God, I call them Jamal's friends. They're not his friends. He's not friends with them. But the Hebrew Israelites, oh God, I'd be like, please, no offense to anybody, but the ones I'm talking about the ones, not the Hebrew people. I'm talking about the Hebrew Israelites that be on the corner, yelling and, talking down to Black women. I'm like, do you hear, it's crazy to me. But either way, Jamal, you see it? Yes. Jamal would have to walk past them every day going home. And I just imagine him like, oh, please, please, please stop. Please, please stop. But yes, exactly. And that's exactly, yeah. Yeah, it's a DC thing. Yes, it is. But I'm sure black men do this everywhere. Don't you know you the ugliest and least chosen? Be grateful. Exactly. Exactly. Like this idea of like, I gave you attention, girl. You should give me attention. No, I don't have to give you attention. Also, I'm on my way somewhere. Like I have things to do. But also, I don't talk to black men I don't have a good rapport with. I don't know you. You could be anybody. You could do anything to me. Right? Like, wouldn't it be smart? I'm not going to talk to you. I'm not going to talk to you. Even if I was single, I'm not going to talk to you. That's not how I date people. I'm sorry. I'm scared. Okay. It's crazy out here. So, oh, yikes. Yeah. All right. Hebrew Israelites are, I don't really, and I guess I should do more research. I don't really understand. I guess I'm just like, what are we hoping to do? Like, are we hoping to like, to win people to like, what are we trying? What is the goal here? Is it just to yell at people? Anyway, I'm not trying to be ignorant. I'm really asking. I really don't know. I wish content from the manosphere taught men how to be gentlemen and the proper way to talk or court black women instead of treating them exactly as a commodity. And again, I keep going back to slavery. Black women have been treated like a commodity because that's how we've been treated back in the day. So like this internalized misogynoir like that black men have, it's like it's inherited from white folks. It's true. Okay. But you're not on the corner like yelling and calling people B words and all this other stuff, right? Like I don't think you're doing that. And also again, I make that distinction, between like Hebrew people and Hebrew Israelites, as in like the what do you call them? I don't even know. Like, but I think Okay, yes. Okay, then I'm not talking about that at all. That's something totally different. These people are just cruel and I don't get it. I don't get it. I was spit on by a man who tried to talk to me in a car a long time ago. I am so sorry. And that is abuse. And I am so sorry. I'm really sorry about that. But yeah, the entitlement, right? That what black women have to face every single day. So again, black women will never be enough. Black women judge each other based on these unrealistic expectations because we're putting down other people and competing with other people because we feel like there's not enough room. And as I talk about in the other video, how black women are not my competition, they're my community. We're taught that life is a pie, that resources are a pie, right? That like, oh, if I have a slice of pie, there's less pie for you. If I'm beautiful, you can't be beautiful either. If I'm sophisticated, I'm not sophisticated. I didn't mean to say that. If I'm well, what's the word? Like if I achieve things, you can't achieve things. There's less space for you. Yes, under white supremacy, absolutely, right? Like under these things, there are less room for people. But like we can create our own culture where we don't have to do that thing. And yes, black women can be very spiteful to one another, very, very unkind, very, and people would say like catty, right? Like I've experienced both. I've experienced black women harming me and healing me. I've experienced both, right? So, but what I don't want to do is say that I'm okay with that treatment, because I'm not. What I will say though is that a lot of those mindsets and the reason why they treat other women like this is because of either white supremacy, toxic masculinity, all these things, right? Because what other reason will we have to put down another woman except that she might be seen as more desirable than us, or that she is more accomplished than us, or sexier than us, like the things that black men or the male gaze or white supremacy in general deems as good for black women, right? Like in other societies, like white women can be other things too than just sexy, right? You know what I'm saying? Like white women can be all these other things, but black women are seen to be like, if you're not attractive in the way that I think you're attractive, then you're not good enough. Does that make sense? I hope what I'm saying makes sense. But yes, let's call a thing. Where's Marcus at? Because he says it all the time. Most black women are raised up to tolerate, being mistreated and being victimized. I said what I said. Hold on. But most black women are raised up to tolerate. I mean, I don't disagree. Don't disagree. I was told by an older black woman when I was younger that the worst thing that happened to black women is a black man. Yikes. It says, I wish we minted friendships more. I do too. And what I have seen is, sadly, again, I have seen so many friendships dissolve because of men. I have seen so many good friendships dissolve because of men, either men pitting them against each other, men using both of them, or a woman choosing a man over her friend. Like, we got to stop doing that. So yes, there are absolutely things that we should improve on, absolutely, as Black women. But again, we have to unlearn these things we've been taught, that there's not enough room for us, that we are not beautiful, right? That each one of us is not beautiful or valued. You know what I'm saying? Like, so yeah. Sorry, I just missed something. Okay, I met a Black woman in Manhattan who believed she was married to a Black Hebrew Israelite because she followed him around like a child with no money or exposure to the real world. That makes me sad. That's questionable. That's questionable. And yeah, I've seen some of those who consider themselves Hebrew Israelites who are amicable. Yep. And then there are those who are not. Exactly. I'm just talking about those specific kind of people. Those specific people. Most of my friendships with my friends have changed once they were married or they got, oh, I'm sorry about that. Yeah. Like almost like our entire existence has to be wrapped up in a man. It doesn't. Also, even if you get with a man, you don't have to lose your, I refuse to lose myself. I got friends. I got a life. I got things to do. You know what I'm saying? I feel like Black men just don't or won't have honest dialogue with each other. They just buy into false narratives, so it releases them from being great. Be great for yourself, men. I agree. And what I will also say to this is, like, people are looking at Black women to save the Black male community. We cannot do that. That's not our job. We also don't want to. We're not interested. But even this idea of like, oh, well, Black men can't be, women want these thugs and women don't want men to be emotional. It's like, first, you're a human. You are emotional. It's okay. But also, no, it's Black men who are not creating safe spaces for each other. Black men are not being safe places for each other and their feelings. Like, I have seen Black men in community doing that, and it's beautiful, right? But a lot of Black men do not have that community, and it's not a Black woman's job to experience your lack of emotional intelligence. It's not her job to fix you. It's not her job to fix the Black male community. Y'all got to figure that out on your own, because we still trying to figure out our own stuff. You know what I'm saying? We still trying to figure out our own stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, we can't do it all. We can't, and we're not supposed to, and I'm not going to. We don't want to. Y'all figure out how to be safe places for each other. Y'all figure out how to be vulnerable with one another. It goes back again to like, well, women have the language and women can talk about this stuff. Women can talk about it because we allow each other to talk about it. There are women who cannot talk about it because they have not been given space to be vulnerable, to be emotional, to heal, right? Like, but they had to find the spaces to heal. The same thing has to happen with men. That's not our job. That's not, and if you don't feel secure in your own emotions, that's your fault. Like, not your fault isn't like it's your fault, but it's your community's fault. Y'all can be better community to each other. We all have room for improvement. But all this like, oh, let's all blame Black women for everything and get together. It's like this false form of this false view of community, as if Black men getting together and complaining online together about Black women's power that they don't have is somehow camaraderie. And if that is how you're basing your friendships on, I feel sorry for you. That is a horrible way to have a foundation for a friendship. My friendships that I have are not based on me hating a group of people. The friendships I have are not based off of me avoiding responsibility, like dodging bullets, like I'm in the Matrix. Like, that's not what my friendships are built on. They are built on accountability. They are built on vulnerability and love, right? And like, and safety. But if you don't feel safe with other men, say that, right? But don't put that on us. That ain't got nothing to do with us. Ain't got nothing to do with us. After marriage, all my Black friendships died. I'm so sorry. I'm really sorry. Women friends can sometimes be too demanding and expect relationship treatment from friends. True. True. My dad told me when I was 5, women are only good for their bodies, and once they get my age, who wants them? Wow. And he was 30. You see what I'm saying? Just like the man who I had to block earlier, sometimes it's best just to be quiet and just listen, or, just ask questions or give support and empathy. Like, Black men have their place. Appreciate you when you're our allies and you let us like do the things. But when you're trying to tell, that's not true. That's not your experience. It's like, how are you going to tell me? And I'm a woman. What do you mean? He was abusing her and I was financially helping her, and she went back to him and, oh no, I'm so sorry. We need to nurture our female friendships because men have a life. Oh, wow. Or a shorter lifespan. I mean, statistically, that is true. And I feel like a lot of that is because they're not able to be vulnerable. Like a lot of that is because of that. But yes, but also like just nurture them just because, right? Like I feel like even when my relationships with women end, it's more painful than romantic relationships to me because I value them so much. Like I value those relationships so much. I mean, does it hurt if a man leaves me? Absolutely. But not as deeply as if my woman friend breaks up with me, so to speak, right? Because like there is something different there. It's not based off of romance. And I mean, even my marriage is not based off, it's based off friendship, right? But there's a different kind of sisterhood and there's a different kind of intimacy that you have with women. And so when you feel betrayed by them or abandoned by them, it's a different kind of hurt. So I agree. We do need to nurture our women relationships. Hanging up my cape, I feel you. I did a video about why some other Black women hate on Spot, and we probably have more in common than differences. Absolutely. We're all going through something. Absolutely. And a lot of like the hate, using air quotes, that I might get from Black women, I'm like, this has something to do with you. Like, this is something lacking in you. It has nothing to do with me. Like, if I'm taking up space, if I'm just being myself, I know that I'm kind. I know that I'm generous. I know that I'm loving. I'm not perfect. I do get things wrong, but I know my intentions are loving. It's never to be to tear someone down. So if you feel a way, there's probably something in you, right? Or, you know, that this person might not like me because they might not like the way I talk, right? Or that I stutter sometimes or whatever. Like that's different. That's just their preference. But if you like see something, you're like, oh, I can't stand her. How dare, like, it's like, girl, what's going on? There's enough room for all of us. We don't have to compete. This is silly. My friendships died off when I started therapy. Ooh. Once my self-medicating, once they started telling me I was acting too good for them. Yeah. Yes, child marriage, religious or not, 2022. It is. It is. It has always been. I'm sorry. Okay. Girl, my Fixa Ninja kit has been destroyed. That's hilarious. But I feel you. I feel you. I can't be with women whose sole existence is chase a man or put them on a pedestal. I mean, I feel you. I do. I think it's sad when people feel like that has to be. But again, I have grace with them because I understand that's what we're taught. We're taught that we are supposed to be a man's plaything. Like literally. Like, you know what I'm saying? Or not even just man as in like husband, but man like brother, uncle, father, son. Like we're taught to always be at the disposal of Black men. You know what I mean? So I don't blame that on them. It makes me sad, but like, yeah, that's frustrating. Black women issues always been in the background or pushed to nominal value. Yep. And gaslit to our fault. Absolutely. I'm traumatized to the point that if someone even starts to vent, I run. I cannot fix anything. I feel you. And again, that's one thing that I wrote down is that Black women are looked at as a dumping place for emotions, trauma. Like we're supposed to fix everything or hold everything together. And we're barely holding ourselves together. We're holding ourselves with string and gum. And you want us to like move mountains for you? Nah. No, boundaries are very important. And I'm learning that. Hi now and then. Welcome. Black women are more likely to hold each other accountable than Black men will. Okay, what I will say to this, I agree, Trish. I agree. And so men try to fight me on this, and I'm like, Black women are born apologizing. Black women are born apologizing for their existence. Everything they do, they're taught to like overthink and like, oh, am I doing this thing right? Right? Like, so we almost take accountability for things that are not our fault. We take accountability for everybody else's things, and it's not our fault. A lot of stuff, like, obviously there are some things that we're held accountable for what we do. We're not perfect, but a lot of stuff that Black women are expected to have accountability is not our fault. It's not in our power. It's not in our ability to change what you want from us. And again, this is just how America looks at Black people, how America looks at Black women. If things are going wrong, what are y'all doing, right? Like, or if, you know, what did the mother do? If somebody does something wrong, where's the mother at? Nobody asks, oh, where's their father? Imagine, right? Like everything is Black women's fault. That's why I said Black men will never be enough. No matter how many things we achieve, no matter how wealthy we are, they're already telling us our degrees and money don't matter. Like, how insulting is that to say that to somebody you love? That if they value their degree, if they value their money, if they value the things they've achieved, how dare you tell them that it doesn't matter? How dare you tell them that they should not value, like, and you value them? Is that kind? I don't understand. And no, am I saying that we should measure our worth by these things? Absolutely not, right? But if a girl is proud that she got her degree, I'm celebrating with her. I'm dancing with her, right? Like, I don't have to downplay anything she does because she finds that valuable. What's so hard with being supportive? Also, a lot of men say that a woman's money and degree doesn't matter, but No offense, a lot of Black women are carrying the community, money-wise. A lot of homes are led by Black women. They need resources. Like, it's just, you could just join. I don't understand. Why are we fighting against? You could just join us. You know what I mean? And again, broad strokes, obviously this is not everybody's situation. Black women are a more marginalized group within a marginalized group. Couldn't agree more. Absolutely. So it's like, well, Black men experience racism. So do we. But we also experience misogyny and colorism. And I think that men experience colorism too, but I think it's just in a different way. Correct me if I'm wrong, men, because I could definitely be wrong about that. But from what I see, nobody is really saying, like, I've heard people say like, oh, he's a light skin. You know what I'm saying? Like, you acting real light skin. I've heard that before, but I haven't really seen colorism being used in the same way towards Black women as Black men. But correct me again if I'm wrong. Black women are not responsible for building and fixing. We're not. I broke up with my boyfriend even though I love him and his family because I was not happy with his irresponsibility. I love that for you. I love that for you. Yeah, some dads are trash. Oh, ask me. I know. Black men want it both ways. They want to be the king and the queen. They do. It's weird. It's very weird. And like, what is humiliating about supporting your woman? What is humiliating about providing for her and protecting her? What is that? Like, is it because you just don't want to do it? And when I hear a lot of when I hear a lot of Black men's reasons for dating like white women, it's always because something Black women did wrong. Like, it's never just like, or it'll be like, oh, well, this person lets me get away with more than you. Imagine having to be mature and actually make the right decisions. It hurts. I'm still learning a friendship. Me too. And it does hurt. It does. And even when I think I'm healed, it still pops up. And it sucks because I value that relationship and I value them. And I think that's all those feelings mean. It doesn't mean that there's something wrong with us. Not that you're saying you feel that way. But I know a lot of people are like, why are you still hurting? Why are you still talking about them? Because it mattered to you. That relationship was important to you. It was valuable. So you're going to feel that pain, you know? And when I told him that I did not like the way he handled business, Helen told me, that's what you're for? Like I said, I broke up with him. Good. I'm glad. Y'all heard the study where married men live longer. Thank you. I forgot to write that down. Married men live longer than single men. We benefit your lives. But yes, single women live longer than married men. I refuse to be unalived by the person I'm married to. I am so sorry. I will not be stressed, or by my kids. I'm sorry. There's statistically more benefit for Black men to marry Black women, but go off. Go off. I just can't get past when the friendships end. It's like, and now we'll never speak again ever in life. Exactly. There's something very weird about that. Allow us to be vulnerable. Exactly. Because we create safe spaces for them. Obviously, some women are not safe spaces, but, women tend to create safe spaces for each other. And I know we get made fun of like, oh, like whatever. Like, I feel safe with my friends, and you should too. I ended a friendship, my career as a teacher, though it hurt. It felt like such a relief. I'm so sorry. And I'm glad for you. Hey, LB. All right, I'm going to skip ahead, y'all, just because I'm behind. Degrees are hard work, and colleges once upon a time were not for Black people. Black women have infiltrated the system, but Black men are mad. How? Exactly. And I've heard the argument that like, well, now you're going to have debt and stuff like that. And it's like, well, what was the other option, sweetie? Like, what was the other option? To be poor and destitute? I'm confused. Like, what is the other option? I don't understand. Like, people are getting degrees because they have to, like they feel like they have to, right? Like they're told like, oh, if you get this degree, then you'll be able to do X, Y, and Z. And so you do that. We do what we're told to do. Does that work out all the time? No. Is it a lie? I think so. But degrees are very hard. They're very hard. A lot of people need them to do the work that they want to do. So I don't understand. I don't get it. Does not compute. The dark Nate. Okay. Light skin is associated with femininity and more softness. So light skinness is considered inherently more desirable for Black women. Yeah, exactly. And so that's why thank you, Stephanie. Thank you. I appreciate you. So when they're talking about these things, like one, I know that I have privilege. I'm not the fairest, lady in the land. First of all, anyway, I'm not the fairest person, right? But like, I know that I have privilege over some of my darker skinned sisters. You know what I'm saying? Like they're like, but nobody wins. And I'm not using that as some way to be like, oh, I'm better than, and no. But the truth is their experience is different than mine. And I have to acknowledge that. And it's true. I don't have to, but I do. And I know that it is true. Right. So yeah. So I'm saying that to say, like, for men to say, like, that's not, it's like, can't you just empathize? Like, maybe that's not your experience because you're privileged in this situation. Maybe you haven't experienced that because you're a man and you don't get it. You don't get it. I was talking to one of my other male friends and we were talking about the person who passed away, and he was giving all these reasons as to why he was so great and like why he was amazing and why he made such a great impact on the Black community and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, this is the same man that said that Black women are the ugliest people on the planet. This is the man that said that we shouldn't believe our daughters when they say that men violate them. This is the same man that was cussing out and like literally cursing out, disrespecting Black women. And people will try to justify abuse all day long. You're just protecting an abuser. Like, no offense. And then even, I'm just going to say this, even when this person passed away, was I dancing? No. I was actually grieved because this person never got a chance to repent. That's as far as my feelings went. But also I was grieved because even in that, like, people were like, oh, we gonna carry this on and Black women gotta pay now, like talking about violence towards Black women, like all these things, right? And so, but what was crazier to me is that people were expecting Black women to be mourning and grieving and crying. And I'm like, in what world would we be doing that? Why would we be doing that? Right? Like, why would we be mourning and grieving someone who was, no offense, horrible in character, horrible in thought, in politic, right? Like, just horrible, like horrible. And then they'd be like, well, he said something's true. Yeah, well, a broken clock is right twice a day. That's how you, like, what does that have to do with, like, you're trying to zero in on all these small things that this person did that might have been helpful or might have been true, right? Or honest. But then there's like 99.9999% of the content, rhetoric, things that were said, done, that do not equate to me being like, dang, we lost a great leader. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I'm sad that what happened, obviously, right? But like, at the same time, I'm not, why is the burden put on Black women to celebrate their abuser? Like, how does that make sense? And also, again, when people say like, oh, I don't disrespect the dead, it's like, but he disrespected the living his entire career. He disrespected the living. And now we're supposed to pretend that that's not what happened. It's amazing. It's amazing. Oh, thank you. My Cash App, y'all always reminded me. It is at Alicia Renice. Yes. Or the $. My bad. I'm not good at this. Okay. $, Alicia Renice. That's me. Yeah. But yeah, if you want to, thank you so much for y'all giving. I really appreciate that. But yes. So anywho, all that to say, that's crazy. You're expected to do well, right? And so, but even when you do well, it's still not enough. When I look at Simone Biles, right, when she took a break and people were like, how dare you take a break? Then I'm like, what more does she have to prove? How many more medals do you want her to win? Like, or what is her name? Osaka? Am I tripping? No, I'm tripping. No, Naomi? Anyway, when she was taking a break for her mental health, right? People were saying, oh, she's spoiled, she's entitled, And I'm like, homegirl is rich. She doesn't need to work if she doesn't have to right now, right? She's also able to do whatever she wants. But again, I have a way that I look at sports anyway. I think sports resemble slavery, but that's another conversation for another day. But this idea that we should be entitled to women's resources, their things, even again, unto death. Even like if it costs you your mental health, if it costs you your physical health, right? Like if it costs you all these things, it doesn't matter. Like you still need to show up and perform. Like you still need to show up and perform. You know what I mean? Simone, thank you. Yes. Okay. Naomi Osaka and Simone Biles. Yes. So it's very, Alicia, I emailed you a poem to, oh, yay. Okay, cool. Yes, please keep mentioning it. Please forgive me. Please forgive me. I have a lot of things going on. But I really appreciate you. And I will listen to it as soon as I get off of here. As soon. Jamal, hold me to that. He's probably getting us food. Nurse K, we live in a very twisted society. Folks just want to belittle and demean certain women. Absolutely. I don't know why. I know why. Supremacy. I mean, it's like the world benefits from Black women thinking lowly of themselves. The world benefits from Black women not taking the chance, not doing the thing, right? Like they benefit from us thinking lowly of ourselves because then we accept anything. We accept anything. We don't demand anything, and they can use us as they want, right? But when we start to realize our worth, then then they're in trouble. When we start doing things on our own, Black people in general too, then it's trouble. It's chaos. It's confusion. So anywho, those people and their silly expectations can kick rocks with sandals on. Yikes. He was a misogynist and in many ways opened the floodgates. Exactly. And so I've heard this argument, well, he never physically harmed anybody. It's like he put the battery in the back. Like, we need to realize words we speak matter. Words we speak influence people, and especially if they're weak-willed and don't have an independent thought of their own. Like, people are very gullible. Like, we think that, oh, he's just saying stuff. He's not just saying stuff. Be careful of what you speak and how you talk about people and groups of people. What started the physical abuse of people started with words. Words, like it started with words. We cannot say that words don't harm. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. Facts. It's grievous, like that he very likely lost his soul apart. Yeah. Apart from that, exactly. Same. Like, it's like, what do you want from me? What are you expecting from me? I'm not batting an eye. Rest in peace. But why should I want? That's my point, right? Like, and it's funny because somebody was saying, well, I don't understand why people are celebrating. And while I wasn't celebrating, like, there is a scripture that says, like, when an evil person passes away, the people celebrate. Why are we surprised? Like, sorry. Sorry. Okay. I'm loving these donations, Alicia. We want you to be living good. Oh, thank you. Thank you, The Dark Knight. I really appreciate that. Hey, yeah, what's your Cash App? Because I can't log in. I appreciate that. And also, I appreciate that. And the Cash App would probably be better. I'll retype it too. But the Cash App is probably better because YouTube takes 45% of what people donate. It just is. It's the price to be on this place. Sports equals slavery. Yep, exactly. Thank you. When people talk about trading people on teams, when people talk about using people's bodies for entertainment or like fighting each other, and we're literally punching each other in the face and watching and cheering from the sidelines, I'm like, it's giving very much not okay, right? Like, this is weird. This is very strange. Like we're just here for their entertainment because most of us are in most of these sports, like minus golf. I'm not saying that golf is not hard. I'm sure it is, but it's not as physically taxing as a lot of these other sports, like basketball or football or boxing or UFC fighting, like all these things. There's nothing entertaining to me about violence. I'm sorry. And I know it's probably like, I don't mean to be a wet blanket, but there's nothing. I don't like seeing people punching each other in the face. I don't like that. I think the hatred has always been there. KS wrapped the hate in the designer suits, and it gave the Black men person to point to who supported it. Exactly. It just gave people, like, just how when Trump was elected, for example, people were like, oh, well, now the nation is racist. Like, sweetie, the nation has always been racist, right? Like, some people just come into power so they give people the opportunity to show how they really feel, to show how they really see people, right? They just need that communal, like, it's okay, like a wink, like, it's all right. I can't wink y'all, but I feel like the woman from it doesn't matter, a show forget it, no, from the show Arrested Development, the mother, and she would wink and she couldn't wink. But anywho, but yeah, it's like he just gave people the authority, and it was okay now to be a bigot. It's okay now to be misogynistic. It's okay now to hate Black women, right? Like, it's okay because he said it. Like, I didn't say it. I'm just saying that I agree with his talking points, or using him as like y'all not tricking me. Y'all not gonna tell me that, oh, well, I don't agree with everything he says, but it's just tough love. I don't believe in how he said it, but you believe in what he says. I'm sorry, if you show me that you're an abuser, I'm not listening to you anymore. Like, there's nothing left to say. There's nothing left to say. Yeah, exactly. All dark-skinned women are not threatened by light-skinned women. Absolutely. In the first place, we know why they are light-skinned. Absolutely. I agree. And again, like, and what I'm saying is, though, that there is a reality that darker-skinned Black women live that I do not, right? And there's a reality that lighter women who are lighter than me who could pass live that I do not. That's the only thing that I'm saying. I'm not saying that we, like, oh, like, no, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that privilege is real. It's real and it's sick, and I'm not going to deny that it exists just to fit my narrative, because that would be a lie. That would be a lie. Yeah, no, you're not the only person. I just haven't said it because people love sports. But yes, Alicia Bernice, you're loved. Oh, thank you. We are watching all the way from Africa. Yay! Shout out to y'all. We are 9 hours ahead of you. Oh no! But stayed up late to show our love and support. Thank you so much, Juliet. I hope I'm saying your name right. Shout out to y'all. I appreciate you. All right. Let's see. Yeah. That's hilarious. What? 45%? Yes, exactly. Exactly. It's 45%. It's like the cost to be here. So it's annoying, but it's like, I mean, and that's why people go like, that's why people make Patreons. That's why people make like take cash apps and stuff like that, because they actually get the money, as opposed to like, oh, YouTube's like, thanks so much, I'll be taking 45% of that. Yes. And no worries, Anik. No worries. It's all good. I appreciate you. I appreciate you supporting. A mental abuse feels physical. Like, abuse is abuse. Abuse is abuse. Financial abuse. There's so many different ways to abuse somebody, and it's all bad. Like, what? I'm content being single for the rest of my life. I love that. This freed my spirit. I am enjoying and pouring into myself and my children, and it radiates because when I have conversations with them. Absolutely. Listen, happy Black mom. I love that. When I tell you that because you're a happy Black mom, you will change the world because you'll be raising kids that are joyful and that can actually spend time with you. Stephanie Perry did an interview with Ashley in Africa. And when she was in Tanzania, she had help in the house, right? And so it was beautiful because, like, it's so interesting to me because I hear all these men like, oh, well, she need to cook and clean and do X, Y, and Z. And then you're expecting like this whole put together woman, right? Excuse me. But when she had help, she was able to be present with her kids. Like, she was able to have fun with them. And they're going to remember that forever. Forever. I remember my mom being stressed out. I remember her not having energy to really like engage with me and my brother, right? And it's not her fault because she was overworked and my dad wasn't there. But I promise you, those things will be remembered forever. And thank you so much for sending this. I really appreciate you. Thank you so much for sending that. A happy Black mom is the best thing on earth. Absolutely. 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 Anik, I usually don't say much today. I said, that's okay. Listen, say all the things you need to say. All the things. Sports give a false illusion under the gaze of fame. Okay. Equaling acceptance, leadership, and financial advancement, but those athletes go broke, bodies broken, and broke bank accounts. Absolutely. And a lot of people say, well, they're just irresponsible. That's not always true. That's not always true. There was a study done in the 60s, I believe. It might have been the 70s. But Black women were going broke, but they were having college degrees, and people couldn't figure out why, right? Like, people couldn't figure out like what's going on. And so they did a study, and they realized that Black women were getting their degrees, but they were also taking care of their whole families. So there was a lot more pressure put on them to share their wealth, because that's what we do. We share. We don't just hoard everything. We also don't have generational wealth. So the money that we make, like the money that these people were making, a lot of these people go broke, not because they're irresponsible, but because one, they might be living above their means and like thinking like, oh, I'm going to have this money forever. But also they're putting their people on, their friends, their family, the people who didn't have, because they feel responsible to these people for helping them get to where they are, which is great in theory. It's wonderful, but like not to the extent of you losing everything you have. You know what I'm saying? But I get it. And so, yeah. Absolutely. I'm thankful that we felt safe enough to speak in the chat. I'm grateful. I'm glad. Yes. Hi, neurodivergent mom. Welcome. Let's see. I feel like I missed something. Yes, she did. Yes, she did. Oh no, don't. But okay. Like it's refreshing when I be like, yes, like, yes, Black man, speak. Speak the truth. Okay. It's all good. I be messing up. I've been misspeaking and typing too. But yes. Okay. I think that's more about consolidating power, not really creating safe space, because those spaces of power still operate under individualism and capitalism. Absolutely. We all said a lot. I told you, Alicia, be exercising demons. Y'all sweet. That's kind. Remember when I told you in Miles I was going to Tanzania? Yes, that was one of the things I loved. The helpers for needing the employment are very helpful. That's beautiful. That's lovely, and we should all have help. I love that. And also like the help in her house, to be specific, like she wasn't underpaying her. Like she was paying her more than what they usually make, and I think that's okay when someone is doing a job and you're paying them a healthy living, if people want to do the work, let them do the work. Hire the help that you need. You know what I'm saying? I was the youngest until I was 8. I witnessed my energetic mom, and then I witnessed my drain mom. Same. I still miss that energetic version of her, and she's living. Me too. Absolutely. Stephanie Perry said no one ever told her she's working too hard. Never. They never tell black women you're working too hard. Other black women will tell other black women that. But these powers that be they benefit from us working too hard. But people told her not to waste her money enjoying luxury. Exactly. All right. Chat. In the world we live in order for someone to be at the top, someone has to be at the bottom. Yeah. Black women have been set up to be at the bottom. Yep. They need the bottom step to get up on. Exactly. So this idea of like pulling ourselves up by the bootstraps is not true. Like no one does that. The reason why the people are in power who are in power is that they stepped on the backs of other people. Like, sadly, does it have to be this way? It doesn't, but they choose to keep it this way, right? Like there's a way that we can all thrive. We can all make good money. We can all be successful, beautiful, brilliant people. But like the system that we live in, the world system, this westernized, system is one that like, oh, well, in order for me to be successful, I have to exploit people. I have to use people. I have to abuse people. That's not true. Okay. No by peep game with the women who agreed either partially or totally with his rhetoric as well. Yep. Okay. Girl, you got some unlearning to do, but you will not hurt me. So we got to go. Okay. We are the mules. Absolutely. We are. It's a total fallacy, that bootstrapping. Absolutely. It's not true. Like, how does that make sense? How am I? Literally, think about this in real life. If I have on a shoe and I'm pulling myself up by the bootstraps, you know what happens? My shoe comes right back down. The only way that I can elevate in this system is by stepping on other people or stepping up, right, on something. And that something is never stairs. It's never something inanimate or something that was created to be used to step up. It's always a person. It's always a person here. So anyway, most important, you have to love what you do. Yeah. You didn't miss it. You didn't miss it at all. What did you miss? Okay. So, all right. And one note I wrote is struggle love. We already talked about that. I don't believe in struggle love. I don't think that you should have to struggle to be loved. Manosphere content again. Modern women. Everything is modern because we're alive. Duh. Women having attitudes. Black women. This idea that black women have attitudes. It's like, did you? Do we have attitudes, or are we protecting ourselves? Do we have attitudes, or do we just not want to talk to you? Right? Like, do we have attitudes, or do you not meet our qualifications and expectations? Like, tell the truth. It's not as simple as, oh, you just have an attitude. No, I don't. Like, you're on some BS. I don't want to talk to you. Right? Like, or again, I deserve more. I know my value. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like this issue. Black women are too loud. Exactly. Because we don't take mess. Exactly. Like, that's why you see black men as having an attitude. It's like, what? No, I don't. I'm actually not upset with you. I'm just telling you no. And you're just not used to hearing no. Oh, yay. How do we chat with people outside of the chat? I'm feeling some good energies here tonight. Oh, yay. Well, let's see. I was thinking about creating like a Telegram or something where people can actually communicate with one another. But yeah, if you want it, I don't want you all to share your personal information. So I'm trying to think how you all can message each other, but we'll figure that out. I'll figure that out by the next live. I'll have something so that we can all like come together and talk about things either offline or, do that. So yeah. Okay. So yes, attitudes. Somebody just said it perfectly. I just saw it. Yvette Boone says, I got a damn attitude because they trying to put me through. Exactly. Like, again, this idea of like, it's the same note as like yes. Okay. Perfect. Thank y'all. Oh yeah. Discord. Thank you. Discord. Yes. I'm going to do a Discord, but yes, you can definitely join the Black Girl creative community as well. I mean, it's about like creativity and all that stuff, but it's still a thing. I'll put the link here. Actually, what I will do is I'm gonna put my email in the chat, and then email me your address and I'll send it to you, because some people are having issues with the actual joining. So until I create the Discord, then I will put it here. So AliciaRenice.com. So yeah, just email me at hello@AliciaRenice.com. and I'll send you the invitation for the Black Girl Creative, and I'll also send you the stuff when I create the Discord, which I'll do this week. Okay. Sorry, I'm sweating. I'm a little shiny, glistening. Okay. So attitudes. Okay. Too loud, right? That Black women are too loud. Okay. I feel like Black people in general are loud, but I love it. I love it. But also, we're not the only ones that are loud. I've been in classrooms with other people and they are loud, like disrespectfully loud. Like, why is it offensive that Black women laugh loudly? I love hearing Black people laugh. It is one of my favorite sounds in the whole wide world. Like, it's contagious. It's infectious. Like, it's amazing, right? Like, so what? Like, anywho, too loud, ghetto. Okay. I hate when people call people ghetto because it is elitist and classist. What are you really trying to say, right? Like, what are you really trying to say when you call someone ghetto? I don't like that. I don't like it. Not here for it. But I know a lot of people look at Black women as ghetto in general. And so Black men just kind of jump on the train, and Black women jump on that train of looking down on other women. Again, we talked about the bonnet stuff, the respectability politics, all that dumb stuff. It's classist. Because at the end of the day, like, oh my gosh, War said, the world is a ghetto, okay? But at the end of the day, it's like, no, like Black women in general are going to be seen as ghetto because that's how the world views us. Anti-Blackness is global. It's global. Like, so we're always going to be looked at as ghetto, as ghetto hood. What are the words? I don't know, violent, insert whatever word you want to hear. Like, okay. I don't need a man. Men being upset that women are saying they don't need a man. The truth is they might not. They might not need you. You might be more drama and more work than it's worth. I'm sorry. Sometimes that is the truth, right? We just talked about how my shirt is doing something. We just talked about how Black men live longer and Black women live longer when they're single, right? And Black men live longer when they're married. There's obviously some sort of thing happening here where I'm transferring all this energy to you and it might not be beneficial for me. But also, wouldn't you rather want to be wanted than needed? I mean, and I talked to my husband about this because he wants to feel needed, right? And so yes, please help. Please help me do this. Help me. I'm a damsel in distress, right? Help me. Okay. Help me. But the thing is, yes, I could technically do it myself. Like I could. I don't want to though. But also I choose my, what am I trying to say? I choose my person because I want to be with him, not because I need him. Does that make sense? Like, I feel like it's healthy to want someone, right? And it's healthy to need them in certain ways, but I don't need him. I won't die if I don't have him. You know, it's like, of course I will be sad, but if I never met him, I'm sure I would figure it out. I'd be fine. You know, I'd be fine. So yes, but also I don't need a man. I know a lot of people say that because, okay. Pixie T, get me together. Because listen, my view is very limited, but I just know when I hear people talk about like in the UK or, in, other places, like people do. And also I've heard from even people from the Caribbean, shout out to the Caribbean folk in the chat, that they were taught anti-Blackness, like anti-American Blackness. Like they've been taught, people from the continent of Africa, like West Africa specifically, that they've been taught, we don't congregate with them because they are lesser Black, right? Like we're not the same as them. I've heard that with my own ears, but if it's not everywhere, get me together. Okay. Correct me. Correct me. But yes. Exactly. Marquita says you are choosing from a healthy place. Exactly. Okay. So yes. Okay. So I don't need a man. What I will say is that, a lot of men have used this example to say like, oh, back in the day, women were married and happy. You don't know if they were happy or not. They were married because they didn't have no other option. Okay. A lot of these people were together because they did not have another option. And so a lot of women pride themselves on the fact that they don't need a man. They're not going to settle because they have the resources, the access to make a life for themselves now. So this idea that like, oh, back in the day, women were submissive. Women didn't have a choice. I have literal family members who were abused by their other person. Like, because they didn't have a choice, not because, oh, I'm so submissive and whatever that, like, whatever, first of all, define submissive, but then also it's like, no, like this is an excuse that people use to have power over somebody. That's financial abuse. A lot of women were financially abused by their husbands. And so women today are saying, I don't need a man so I can make my decisions to heal, like to make a healthy decision for myself. So again, like Marquita said, I'm choosing from a healthy place. Just let me choose you. Let me want you. I don't want to have to be solely dependent on you. I don't think that's healthy. I don't think that's healthy. Anik says, I told my husband he's not going to have me dead and move no one in. I know that's right. I know that's right. I don't need my man. I do need a man for, okay, or to pay my bills. But if he adds, I don't need, okay, excuse me. But if he adds to my life and he's a good companion, I'm all in. And okay, and so what's wrong with that? Isn't that the best compliment? Like, okay, thank you, Anik. Thank you for telling the truth. American Black versus Caribbean Black. Absolutely. I had a whole conversation with one of my Haitian friends, and she was saying that, like, all these things she was taught, that Black people are lazy, they don't do nothing, they don't fight for their freedom, and blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, yo, what are you talking about? You here working, like, in this place because of us? But I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, and again, it's not to say that, like, obviously Haiti has impacted American culture, absolutely. But again, this idea that Black people in America specifically are less than is semi-global to me from what I know. But again, that's all. Okay. Again, I don't need a man. You deserve, ooh, girl, what'd I say? Job means nothing. Oh, okay. Your degree, excuse me, and your job means nothing. We already talked about that. Masculinity. One thing I wanted to say, that's also a white supremacist thought. Masculinity, Black women being masculine. What does that even mean? What does that even mean? What does a Black woman being masculine even mean? Black women have been seen as masculine since the slavery days. Hello? So when you're saying these things to Black women, it's like, this sounds familiar. This sounds strangely familiar. Do more research on why you think Black women are actually masculine. First of all, what does masculinity even mean to you? And also, and why does a Black woman, again, defending herself, asserting herself, a Black woman going for what she wants, being passionate, speaking out, like, why does that equal masculinity? Okay, next. Again, struggle. Like, Black women and struggle go hand in hand to some people. Some people think like, oh, well, Black women have to struggle. When you see these movies being made, it's always like can we just get a movie with I kept saying this, a romantic comedy with Black women that's not like based in trauma. And I know some of it exists, but a lot of Black movies exist with trauma in it. And I get it, because if art is mirroring life, right? If art is showing what life is, yes, Black women have endured a lot of trauma, but also Black women are just living and being happy. You know what I'm saying? Like, Black women are living their best lives too. Like, can we get a movie about that doesn't include them being the second choice option, or doesn't include them fixing up a man and then, him leaving us and then finding our, no, like, can we just have healthy love in movies? Is that possible? Is that possible? Hollywood? Maybe we don't need Hollywood. We need something else. We need something else. We need something else. We were talking about this in Black Girl Creative as well, about how these movies that a lot of people think like, oh my God, it's so amazing. Like Love and Basketball, not a good movie to me. That's struggle love. What is the other one? With the photographer, Nia Long, Love Jones. Love Jones, struggle love. I just want like, can we just have lighthearted, pleasurable entertainment? Like, does everything have to be so deep? Like, if sometimes I just want to escape from real life. I know life is hard. I get it. I'm a Black woman. I get it. But like, I want to have fun. I want to see myself depicted in movies having fun. Hey, Marcus. Marcus says sometimes it's not expressly anti-Black, American Black, but white supremacy, that part, is ubiquitous thanks to colonialism. Speak. The supremacy creates space for anti-Blackness. Point blank, period. Absolutely, Marcus. Absolutely. Absolutely. Love and Basketball is so bad. It was. Like, I remember watching it when I was younger and I was like, oh, that's nice. But again, it's almost whatever. I think media trains us to accept certain stuff. But then I watched it as an adult and I was like, ugh, this is trash. Ursula says, that's why I watch a lot of science fiction and fantasy shows. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Not for Black women in movies, no happiness. Exactly. Or there has to be like some sort of joy in spite of, right? Joy in spite of abuse, in spite of bad things. Oh God, Baby Boy was the worst. I can't even get through that movie. I tried, like, it was on maybe BET. I should have been watching BET anyway, but I was watching BET and Baby Boy came on and I was like, this is garbage. Why is this a cult classic? And my husband was trying to explain to me like the plot and stuff. I'm like, this is dumb. I'm not watching this movie. I'm not watching this movie. I was so sad when Issa went with the baby mama drama trope. Oh no, where? I didn't even finish Insecure. So if you're talking about that, I didn't even know. I don't like Love and Basketball. Me neither. And then there's another one that's Brown Sugar. I like it because I love music. But like speaking about like the love, it's like, no, it's all bad. He's cheating on his wife. His wife is cheating on him. They loved each other, but then like it's too much. My favorite couple in that movie is Mos Def and Queen Latifah. First of all, I love Mos Def. Let's start there. And I love Queen. But other than that, it was like, oh, yikes. Yay, Marcus says, shout out to the sci-fi fantasy lovers. Absolutely. Absolutely. Side chick songs. Yeah, I Stuck With You in Jail songs. Absolutely. And being celebrated for that. It's like being celebrated for being a side chick. I don't want to judge. I don't want to judge. But the truth is, there are some people who like I Stuck With You in Jail. Like there are some people who are like wrongfully convicted and stuff like that. And that happens sadly more times than it should. But yeah, like Struggle Love doesn't have to be like a, what is it? Like you have to like oh my gosh, that term that means when people have to experience this to grow up. Like people have to, a rites of passage. Like it doesn't have to be a rite of passage, right? Marcus says, I like the Love and Basketball soundtrack. I'm sure it's great. The Love and Basketball soundtrack is great. It's great, but the storyline is a little, okay. A hood horror. Wait, what? What are we talking about? Jupiter's Corner says, there was another movie from the 90s with a little girl whose mom died of cancer and she did everything and her husband didn't. Wow. That sucks. Oh, and Insecure that happened? Oh, with, what's the boy's name? I didn't finish it. I need to finish it, but yes. Anywho, when I watched Fences movies with Denzel and Viola, I know that was really bad. That was really bad. That was so bad. So bad. Fences was so bad. What I will say though, Viola Davis played that role, snot coming out her nose and everything. She played that role. But what was sad to me was like, it wasn't far-fetched, right? Like it wasn't like, oh, this is crazy. It was like, oh shoot, this is too real. Like you would go to that play if you went to go see it while it was a play, like, and be like, dang, this is real life. You know what I'm saying? Like this is real. And then at the end of the day, she was left with all the trauma. Viola was left with all the trauma, raising a baby that wasn't hers. Like that's crazy. Viola gonna give you a good nasty cry. Okay, absolutely. Fences was more true to me in my family history. I have some fences in my family. It's sad. It's really sad. Marquita says Octavia Butler was ahead of her time and she warned us. Hey. Oh, no spoilers. No. But yes, okay. So I'm going to read you all what I wrote down in my journal. Okay. One thing for sure, Viola gonna cry and snot. Okay, I love it. She's not here. She's not here to play with y'all. She was in an interview recently and she talked about how sadly people were telling her that she's the Black Viola Davis, right? She's the Black Viola Davis. She's the Black Meryl Streep. And I was like, that's a good comparison, right? But at the same time, that's why she said, well, pay me like you pay Meryl Streep. I'm not the Black anybody. Like, obviously she's on par with them. She's an amazing actress, but like, she's great in her own right. And so her pay should reflect that. So, yeah. Oh, the Crooklyn movie. First of all, that used to be one of my favorite movies and I still like that movie. But yeah, that was bad. That was really, really bad. When I look back with adult eyes, I'm like, oh, this is not normal. This is not normal. This is not okay. This is not okay. Said she didn't get, I bet she didn't. Sadly, I bet she didn't. And that sucks. That really sucks. Okay, one more time. Think Like a Man, horrible title, but fun. Not about being Black, just goofy. Okay, yeah. Goofy relationship stuff and Black women not putting up with stuff. Yeah. That's cool. That movie was cool. It was funny. It was funny. But I also didn't like the fact that he wrote that book, Steve Harvey. I'll share those thoughts later. Anywho, let me read this to you all, and then that's hilarious. We have all been traumatized by our Black movies. Yes, we have. Yes, we have. Or that the movies just reflect the trauma we experience in real life, sadly. Yeah, like even with Love and Basketball, his mom, his father was cheating on his mom, right? Like it was bad all around. It was bad all around. Anik says, so clearly Black women have tapped out of the mule life. Yeah, I guess so. And I'm for it. Okay. All right, let me read this to you all. I call this the Black girl burden. Okay. So I'll try to read slowly because I talk really fast. I tend to. I actually had that book. My mom gave me that book, and I think she did it with good intentions, but I didn't read it because what I'm gonna learn from him? No offense. Not that he can't give anything to he can't teach anything, but girl, no. Girl to him, not my mom. Girl, bye. Be quiet. Okay. The Black girl burden. Girls get about 10 years of unadulterated childhood, less if they have a younger sibling, and even less if they have a younger brother. She is expected to be maternal, to be womb for broken men, as if her only reason for existence was to help get these men in line. Her brother, her father, uncles, cousins, the collective of men as a whole. She will be groomed to be a man's dumping place, a catalyst, second womb for his emotions, his abuse, his inability to properly communicate, his children, his pent-up frustration, his sexual desires, and expected to turn his trash into treasures, his scraps and crumbs into a feast, his childish ways into maturation, and do it with a smile, even if it costs her mind, her body, her self-esteem, her pride, her life. Because hell, that's what women have been doing since the beginning. Black women only get praised for being strong, resilient, forgiving, ride or die, as if overcoming adversity and being strong is a badge of honor. Praise for being useful as a tool to keep you in your pocket, or your shelf until you need it, carrying your legacy, organizing your marches, making your money, cleaning your home. Our bodies only belong to us for about 10 years, less if we're unlucky, before a lingering eye, hand, violating word robs us of the safety of our skin. But can you blame them? Of course we're beautiful. We should know better. Girls know good and well we can't wear shorts anymore or play outside after dark anymore, not because of anything we can do, but because of the monsters that start to come around 12. Monsters under the bed and in the closet turn into monstrous handsy men at the dinner table, in the pulpit. Friendly neighbors become way too friendly, asking questions they never asked before, like we're supposed to have the answers, but sir, I'm only 12. Sixth grade doesn't really prepare you for these questions. But Black women are supposed to know it all. Know better than to play with boys after a certain age, because then you're fast. Know better than to wear a shirt that's close-fitting. Know how to keep this body from betraying ourselves and inviting strange men and women from having their way with us. Black girl bodies are only free for about 10 years, 12 if you're lucky. Then freedom is replaced with shame. Shame for developing early, as if development is a link in others' devolvement. Shame around the 28th day of each month, whispering to the teacher or nurse, while hearing whispers of classmates because they all know why you're wearing a jacket around your waist in May. We carry shame that doesn't even belong to us, but the shame that violating men and women should carry. The shame of uncontrollable lust, the shame of the choice not to protect. Shame for not being thin enough, light enough, curvy enough, for being too curvy, for speaking up and out, for not speaking up enough, for not reporting, for rocking the boat, for being in process, for telling the truth, for going along with a lie, for aging, for being too young, for staying too long, for leaving too soon, for living, for dying. You can't win in a Black woman body. Black women wear shame as a dreaded necklace gifted to them by their mothers, a family heirloom you feel guilty for giving away. We all feel it. The dread, the fear, the relieved heartache when someone announces, it's a girl. We know that collective sorrow, what's ahead, that even though there is beauty, there is also pain. We all know the envy we feel when the world tells us there isn't enough room for us to be beautiful, sacred, valuable, significant. The Black girl burden is heavy. While men can be immature their entire lives, Black men can make excuses their entire lives. Grace is given to men that women will never see. Grace for being in process. Grace for trying, for doing his best, for getting it close to right this one time, for trying to be better, for getting it together their entire lives, while women are supposed to be born with the knowing. Black men and women can be raised under the same oppressive household, and the woman will be cursed if she doesn't come out shining like a diamond, while if the man comes out haggard and ragged, he gets love, grace, and understanding. So that's what I wrote. Yes, group hug. Absolutely. Absolutely. Those are my thoughts. Those are my thoughts. what I just wrote were my thoughts. Those are my experiences. Those are the experience of a lot of women I know. And the experience of men seeing this happen in real life, right? The pressure on Black women. I was having a conversation with one of our friends, and he was saying that, well, no one asked you to put this pressure on yourselves. And it's like, well, I didn't really have an option in this, right? Like, I didn't really have a say. It was handed down to me, like I said, like an heirloom, right? And so you feel bad for giving it away. So I just want Black women to live, to thrive, to be healed, to be healthy. I want Black men to be a safe place where women can exist. And I can't make Black men do that. I can't do that. And it just grieves me. Like, again, I've been grieved these past few weeks with everything happening, from tragedies to just men's and women's being complicit with abuse. And I'm just tired of that for Black women. I'm tired of that for Black women. So, it's okay. It's okay to cry. I cry all the time. I cry all the time. That should be published. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Maybe I will. Sometimes I just have thoughts. This group chat is awesome. Thank you, Alicia. Oh, yes. Thank you, chat. Y'all are amazing. Y'all are great. Y'all are always supportive and kind. And y'all be like, get that person out of here. And even if you have other thoughts, you always keep it respectful and lovely. And I really appreciate that. I really appreciate that. So that's all I have. May you all have a lovely evening. Yes, have a wonderful evening. Thank you so much for hanging with me. If you could, give this a like on your way out. And I will see you all on the next one. And I will work on creating a Discord for the peeps. Yes, the chat was lit tonight. And I'm glad about that. I'm glad about that. I like when I'm talking and people are talking back. So, and please forgive me if I missed your comments. I will go back and rewatch this on 2x speed and see everybody's comment and thing. So please forgive me. There was a lot going on, a lot of emotions. I was crying as soon as I came on here. But I love you all. Love yourselves, love each other. And I will talk to you all on the next one, at the next time. Okay? Love you guys. Have a good night. Bye. Yay. Oh, wait. Jamal, somebody sent Jamal an email. Okay. Sorry. Okay. Never mind. Good night. Have a good night, everybody. Yay.